This is oh no, it did work. I pressed the button to go live while you were talking, and I thought I would surprise you, and it didn't do anything for about 10 seconds. But now it has. So hello, welcome everyone. No more N-words because we are in front of the camera.
Well, one more.
You should have
Can I
heard
do
the
it one more time?
absolutely
You can't keep calling back
Rolling out of me.
the disgusting racisms that were happening just before I hit that button. It was quite remarkable.
Like Ace Ventura, let's do all the things that you want to do. Okay.
But yes, welcome everyone. Hello, chat. Welcome back to the best show in the universe, probably, where there are a few things to be talking about. Obviously, we had a good box office weekend, but for mixed reasons this weekend. Barbie is out, hence all of the pink on display. And Oppenheimer was out because once you got out of Barbie, you kind of wished for nuclear annihilation. And so seeing that one after Barbie is definitely the recommended canon way of doing it. And we have our usual lovely guests with us. We have Vex with us. We have Lofti Pixels, I think, for the first time. So welcome, sir. I'm not at all threatened by being the second animated person on the screen at this particular moment.
Yeah, if YouTubers rise up, let's go.
We have Uninspired Reviewer, who's back again, a pink black cat this time.
Yes.
And we have actually Andrew, ready to surprise us all with some more spectacularly bad takes this evening, because I'm sure you liked Barbie, didn't you? But yes, that's... welcome, everyone. That's roughly what we've got on. Yeah, where are we kicking off with today? I'm assuming it is Barbie, since we have all pink off.
We might as well.
Yeah, we'll take all of this pink off once we switch to Oppenheimer. We'll switch all of our cameras to black and white.
Yeah, we can just turn it into absolute dread. That's what the movie is. Do you want to just go in order of opinion?
Yeah, should we go clockwise?
Start with Vex and go on.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to turn off monetization now just because I know where this is going.
Listen, I've worked it out of my vocabulary. I was very sneaky. Well, not sneaky with it, but I was more subtle with it in my video review.
I picked up on that, by the way.
I know. It was in hot pink letters on the screen, so I tried to be very subtle. Very subtle. Good
job.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved Barbie. I thought it was extremely representative of everything that womanhood is. I felt so empowered walking out of the theater. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And I love that it shat on men for all 2 hours of it. I love that it kept bringing up the patriarchy. And I loved how pink everything was. No, I'm joking. I fucking hate this movie. This movie made me angry. This movie legitimately made me angry walking out of the theater. And I didn't hold any punches when I decided to review it either. So fuck this movie. Fuck Greta Gerwig. Fuck Margot Robbie. Fuck WB for the amazing job they did marketing this. And fuck anyone who decides that they like this movie. Sorry, Andrew.
Why are you pointing at me? Uninspired liked it too.
Hey, I'm just dressed in pink, man. I like the first 20 minutes. That's it.
Andrew, what do you think of it?
So like, it is a terrible movie. Like, it's just bad. But so I did the Oppenheimer and Barbie, the Barbenheimer experience, and I watched Oppenheimer first the day before I went to a film festival, so I was watching a bunch of stuff there. So by the time I got to Barbie, I was just like, do whatever. I was just tired of sitting in seats and watching stuff. And Barbie was terrible, but for the first 20 minutes, I thought it was going to be good, and then they went to the real world. But like overall, I thought the direction and the production level was pretty good. But other than that, the writing is god awful, and production and direction can only take you so far. So this movie's pretty bad. But Ken was in it, and so that's the only reason I enjoyed it.
Well, Ken was the best part of it.
He was.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Uninspired, your turn, I think.
Yeah, so I like the first 20 minutes of the movie, kind of like Andrew, but then after that, it just devolved into nonsense when it came to the real world. And it lost itself in what it wanted to say, because it tried to say a lot of things, but in the end, it didn't know what it wanted to say. And so you just came out of there appreciating Ken and the patriarchy, basically, because everyone else just felt dumb, and that was it. It was so underwhelming. It was just Barbie, but a bit soulless. Except for the production and all of that aside, that was top notch. It reminded me of the movies from the 1950s because I adore musicals, and so it reminded me a lot of stuff like Singing in the Rain, which is one of my favorites. So with that, I can really appreciate the level that they went through with the production. But as Andrew said, that can only take you so far.
Fair points. Lofty Pixels, over to you.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I thought it did a lot of things good, and I think it had its biggest flaw was like overkill, overstuffed messaging. And whether I agree with the messaging or not, it was just too much. And I've said this before. I think this should have followed more of the format of something like Elf, which is just tell the story, and you can do satire in certain ways that you don't have to like, not every line of dialogue has to reinforce something that was just said 5 seconds ago, and then like it's just too much. So I think this movie's very well made, and I liked not just the first 20 minutes, but I had scenes throughout the movie I thought were pretty great. But it's just kind of a mess. That's kind of where I stand a little bit, I guess. Yeah.
I thought that it was a solid 2.5, maybe a 3 out of 10. It was not a very good movie. Like you guys said, I can echo those sentiments that it was like a very well crafted movie visually. It was directed well from a visual standpoint. And it's we'll get to it, but there are some good things to take away from how it's performing and everything. But regardless of all that, the messaging is just pounded home, and it's any semblance of it trying to talk about equality by the end of the film is completely undercut by everything that preceded the climax of the movie. It tries to walk away with this message of misandry and misogyny are not good either way, but it's completely undercut by like an hour and a half worth of misandry. And so it's just I mean, there's a reason why it's getting the reactions it is. Like, a lot of women are walking away, at least from what I've seen in the hilarious clips I included in my review, of just being like, yeah, like Greta Gerwig said everything that we wanted to hear. I think the sad thing about it is that boys have their thing, girls have their thing. I thought it was going to be great that it was going to have, women should have their feminist movies, like talk about problems that are exclusive to you. It felt like I was walking behind the curtain though, and seeing like what they're actually talking about. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, you guys still blame everything on men? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Are you making a Wizard of Oz reference in a movie that made Wizard of Oz references?
I didn't connect those dots until right now, but I think you're right, I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not very good. And the shitty thing about it, it was it's my job to review it, but all at the same time, it was advertised to us as a movie that was going to be for everybody. In big bold letters during the trailer, it says, if you love Barbie, you'll love this movie. If you hate Barbie, you'll hate this movie. It was advertised as kind of like a for everybody, as much as it could be in the vein of Super Mario Brothers, and it definitely was not. And the hilarity of it all is when you get blamed for reading into it, when you're not blamed for reading into it if you have a positive view of it. But that's my 2 cents on it.
The marketing thing was quite special, wasn't it? I mean, in another context, if you are luring people in with the promise of generic good fun, maybe some perks, maybe some enjoyment, maybe some reward coming out of it, and then you use that very familiar set of wants and you leech on people and you latch them and you drag them in, and then you say, right, now here I'm going to give you an extensive tactics are very, very similar. Good on them. God, yeah, I'm trying to think where you even begin with Barbie. So, normally breaking it down in a review, normally I think my approach, the one that I think I stole from Mulder anyway, I think a good approach to take is you sort of separate it out. So you have plot, you have character, you have world building, you have theme. And then you can have quite a lot to say about all of those things, and it's a nice structure, and there's plenty to be explored about that. With Barbie, I don't think there's a huge amount of point actually doing that. There's not really a plot to speak of. There aren't very many characters to speak of. There's no world building, really, because the world is deliberately supposed to be semi-nonsensical. And the entire thing is theme, so that the whole film is basically oriented around this one very long speech from a woman from the real world. So not one of the Barbies, but a real world woman who just goes on and on and on about all the ways in which it is impossible being a woman because standards make it impossible for women to be happy. Notably, this is during a part of the film where their plan is, because some of the Barbies have actually decided they quite like the patriarchy, the plan for the miserable, depressed feminist Barbies is that they have to make the happy Barbies depressed again so they can overthrow the patriarchy. And that's all right and proper, which is kind of astonishing in its own right. But the idea that this entire film just falls around this one speech and everything else about the film is very much secondary, which is why very little of it really makes sense and doesn't even try to. There's a few things it picks up. So the basic plot for anyone in chat who hasn't actually seen it yet, and if I'm remembering it rightly, because I saw it on Thursday and have been drunk and awake ever since, is that so you have Margot Robbie's Barbie in the Barbie world. Everything's happy, it's all pink, it's a matriarchy. The Kens are second-class citizens. No one really pays any attention to them because the women do everything. But Margot Robbie's Barbie Prime, is being manipulated by, or played by, someone in the real world who is having nasty, miserable, sad thoughts, and that's making her miserable and sad as well. So she has to go to the real world to find out who this is. It turns out it's not a young girl, it's the young girl's mother. The young girl's mother is miserable and depressed. But while they're in the real world, Ken decides that men have power. So for the first time, he's learned what it is to have self-respect. He likes that. He resolves to go back to Barbie world to turn it into a patriarchy. He does this. Most of the Barbies really like it, and things happen. So they actually accomplish stuff. All the Kens suddenly become experts in engineering, science, maths, film theory, music. They become very talented and they love what they're doing. And most of the Barbies are actually happier lounging around on the beach, except for the ones who are feminists who say, no, this is all wrong because this is just, well, it is wrong. It's self-evidently wrong because feminism. So we have to brainwash the Kens by tricking them into thinking we're interested when they talk to us about how brilliant The Godfather is, for example. In the end, we reveal that we don't care. They get miserable. They fight each other. And while they're fighting each other, we take back power, reform the matriarchy, and that's kind of the end. The only weird bit I've missed, I think, is that Barbie Prime then says she doesn't want to be a Barbie. She wants to be a real person. And then she goes to the real world and visits a gynecologist. So that's, I think, the basic plot summary of the film. Make of that what you will.
And I think the saddest part about it too is like it really is the entire script does hinge on that speech in a way, because it is clearly engineered to get a response out of the audience, which is majority female. Because I've talked about it. This is my third stream talking about it, but my audience fucking erupted when that speech ended. I had cheers and claps, and Lofty, you had that too. Yep.
People going.
I went to the Chinese part of town to watch Barbie, and none of them clapped. In fact, everyone
they're all
for real.
hypnotized by the patriarchy.
But like,
that's why.
There were, in like my immediate vicinity, like I could see 4 people go on their phones at the halfway point. Like people in my theater were getting bored through it, but it's not doing well in China, so that probably explains a lot right there.
Damn, nerdy film girl, you are fucking based. I'm so sorry I didn't get you on this stream.
And plus that speech, like there's something before that speech where Barbie is freaking out and she's like explaining what she's going through, and then the mother or whatever human says like, that just seems like an everyday experience for your average human. And I'm like, okay, so they're doing a plot that can apply to anyone, but they're just putting spotlighting it in a feminine way. And then like 2 sentences after that, the conversation just devolves into being a woman is hard, and that's
it's
which was really
good
sad.
Ideas. It's like a Zack Snyder situation. Those really good ideas.
Greta Gerwig is the female Zack Snyder.
Those really great concepts and ideas are completely undercut by the way you executed it. And great ideas don't make great films. They just make good ideas. You still need to do it.
They make good cults on Twitter. That's about it.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
I think the film being sort of incoherent is a problem, but I also think that people pretending that they weren't trying to at least be satirical in some ways are also like wrong, because the movie clearly was trying and to do some things with basically criticizing not only the patriarchy but also the matriarchy, and then they had this whole cathartic sequence with Ken kind of discovering himself, but the problem is that it undercuts itself too frequently, and it's not that these sort of more human aspects don't exist in the movie. It's not like the most feminist movie of all time, but like it's just not a great script. And it might even be the editing, because if you think about what happened to Ken has this big self-discovery kind of sequence that's straight out of Grease or Singing in the Rain, and like it's fantastic, it's wonderful, like it's amazing. And then right after that, he like goes right back to being a cuck and is sort of like rapey towards Barbie.
Yeah.
And it's like they just destroyed the whole, like their whole sort of Ken's like his cathartic moment, and then just it might as well not have happened in the movie.
Yeah,
Well,
and
I think the reason for that there is a
Yeah.
reason for that, which is that this is trying to be a message film. It just doesn't really know what its message truly is. So I think a lot of people are mistaking satire for incoherence, and it is incoherent more than it is satirical.
Yeah.
Ken's ultimate discovery, that scene you're talking about, is almost right at the end of the film. So the Kens have gone to war with each other. During that time, the Barbies have reformed the matriarchy, and they now own the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court is a really big focus point in this film for some reason. And Ken is really depressed because Barbie still doesn't really want him, and he doesn't know who he is without her. And her whole shtick and her speech to him is essentially saying, well, maybe you are more than me. Maybe you are more than the things you possess. Maybe you're more than your accomplishments, your achievements, your talents, your abilities, your knowledge, your brain. Maybe you're more than the things. Maybe you just need to be yourself. Big clap there, because of course that's a really profound, deep moral message. Just be yourself, and yourself is distinct from all of those things that make you who you are. That was the ultimate, I think, letdown of the film. I think I would object if it were a coherent feminist propaganda piece. My problem is the fundamental incoherence. It doesn't have anything to actually say. It has no positive vision. What it says is, I don't like this about society. I don't like this about society. I don't like this about society. Wouldn't it be funny if everyone just was themselves? And then the immediate question you ask is, okay, what do you mean by that? And the film's answer is,
No.
Doesn't know what it wants to
okay. The answer is we are Knuff, all right? We are Knuff.
But I mean, the worst part is that the
exactly.
movie has the elements to be a good film. You know, there's a lot of stuff. For example, I think that they could have evolved on the mother-daughter thing a bit more, because there's this thing that they want to do for the mother and Barbie, where there's so basically Barbie inspired the mother to be who she is today, so it has to be the mother that inspires Barbie to be who she is now. And you know, it's a good thing that can work, but they just don't develop anything at all. The only thing that is developed is Ken, which is why he is the best part of the movie, and it just ends up being such a letdown, and it's so bland.
Yeah, I feel like he's the best part of the movie in spite of the movie. I do not feel like going in, making that film, there's no way Greta Gerwig intended for Ken to be the highlight of the film. It's because they got, even though I don't like him very much, he did fantastic in this movie for what it's worth. Ryan Gosling really
I can't
stole
believe you
the
don't
show.
like Ryan Gosling, man.
Look, I avoided as a sidestep here, I avoided a lot of his film career because I didn't like how it began. And I was just like, I just didn't like this guy. I thought he was great in Drive because he kept his fucking mouth shut. And that was just a great movie. That anyone could have played that role. But in spite of the film's intent, it made what, like we were discussing on Lofty's stream, like he's not a villain per se, but however you want to say it, he's the antagonistic element of the film, or becomes the antagonistic element.
He's the hero.
Oh no, and that's what that's like all. I don't think that's intentional. I don't remember what you called it, Lofty, or your other guest you had on,
Accidentally based or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, accidentally based for sure. If we want to go that route, but like
the John Walker effect.
The John Walker effect, where like the writer makes it cartoonishly over the top bad and gives it all of these characteristics to that character, so to try and entice the audience to dislike them, and he becomes more sympathetic and more likable in spite of what they're trying to do.
I see that. I don't know if she was trying to do something and she failed I think she was trying to make Ken a sympathetic character, and that's just how I take. Because here's the thing: if you think she was trying to make Ken into a villain, I mean, she just gave him way too many like sympathetic lines. Like even when he said that you failed me, Barbie, and it's like obviously she failed him. Like that, I don't think she accidentally wrote that into the movie. I think Ken's villain thing was more of like, oh, this poor guy doesn't know what he's doing. He thinks this is the patriarchy when it's not. I don't think any of that was like Ken being this sophisticated villain. He was just sort of an aloof, confused person. And I didn't see I didn't see that as him being a villain of the movie.
Right. I didn't know how else to word
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, well, there's
he's
also
the
like
he's the conflict in the movie.
there's not really
Conflict.
a villain.
Yeah, there's not.
There's
well,
Will
there's
Ferrell,
Will
but he's just
Ferrell.
kind of there.
You've
Well,
got
the
Mattel.
villain is systems. The villain of all the pieces is systems. It's the systems of power
patriarchal
under which people live.
Yeah.
It's a systemic villainy in the film. So Ken's portrayal is from the sort of the boilerplate, aren't I so clever, well, actually type of feminist who says, but don't you realize that patriarchy harms men as well? It's like, oh, yeah, well done. That's such
No, it
an
doesn't. We have
intellectual
horses.
take. Well done. You're very sympathetic. You're obviously working really hard at this. It just so happens, though, that you're able to show the patriarchy, and actually it's got some really, really strong positive features. And your idea for what the matriarchal alternative is absolutely empty. It's just pinkness and niceness and everybody getting along. So,
And I also like that the feminists that saw the hypnotized women that were enjoying the patriarchy, though, like you're supposed to, it's supposed to be independent woman, but you can't be independent if you like the patriarchy. There's no
they
way
are
you
happy, therefore they
autonomously
must
chose
have been
that.
brainwashed.
Right,
They
you
must be
had to have been
deprogrammed from their
brainwashed.
happiness. But that was sort of one of the more interesting parts of it is that you get that moment when the patriarchy or the Kendom is created and the Kens have taken over the dream houses and the Kens are now doing all of the work and they're actually creating like works of art and they're really interested in music and film theory and all the rest of that. And the Barbies with their poor, pathetic, false consciousness are saying, well, you know what, actually lounging around on the beach all day is more fun than being a Supreme Court justice. And you think, well, I know, oh, fine, take that as your premise, but you are going to have to show me why they're wrong, because like work is supposed to be hard. And some people like doing it and some people don't. If you are able to sit around and lounge around and not do work and be supported, lots of people kind of enjoy that because you support people back in your own ways, in different ways, without being the same and doing the same jobs and the same work and being interested in the same things. But it's one of those other unexplored things. But the overall message, I think, of the film, again, unintentionally conveys, is that for all the generic take is this film evidently hates men, I think it hates women more. This film really doesn't like women. It thinks that women who don't think like Greta Gerwig are brainwashed. It doesn't have any conception of what being a woman is positively. It just has negative conceptions. And so when Margot Robbie's Barbie decides she doesn't want to be Barbie anymore, she wants to be human, and that's an expression of her overcoming, again, another system of oppression and power, this is immediately preceded by a section where they're arguing with the Mattel guy and saying, maybe instead of all of these professional versions of Barbie, like the Barbie astronaut and the Barbie judge and the Barbie this, that, and the other, maybe we just want a normal Barbie because your professional ideals are men dictating to women what women should want to be. Now, I'm old enough to remember, because I'm more than 10 years old, that quite recently we were being told that the generic Barbie was misplaced and out of place and redundant because we needed to teach girls to aspire to be professional roles more. So we've come full circle in that respect. Now it's, no, anyone who tells you as a woman that you should strive to professionalism is actually an unwitting servant of the patriarchy, even if they are a woman, and you just need to be normal. What is normal? Don't know. Film doesn't tell you, but that's what it wants.
That's deep.
I thought Ken was just a manifestation of Barbie like rejecting her femininity the entire movie. Because when we're introduced to him, all he stands to be is just something pretty, like what women typically were like 120 years ago, right? It's just kind of a trophy you keep there. Even when he tries to discover what he wants to do, remember towards the end when Barbie rejects him, he was like, "Oh, it's so hard coming up with all these things and managing it." I'm just like, this is exactly what a woman would say if you were to take her out of a more traditional role and place her into the modern one, right? The entire patriarchy arc with him was literally just meant to try and inject the fact that, oh, men are bad, and that's about it. So while he had a complete arc, it was more just like he started off kind of interesting because he was just basically a woman, and then they decided to make him into a villain because Will Ferrell really had nothing to do with this movie whatsoever.
No,
like
they didn't.
it realizes partway through that, oh, we can't actually make anyone in the real world a villain, so we'll just place that burden on Ken, and that way we can have a full arc throughout the entire movie.
I also thought it was strange that because I put an interview with Greta in my review too to make my point, even though it's a satirical point. But she was basically saying, you know, describing the film that the matriarchal structure of Barbie Land is supposed to be a mirror image to the real world, so that you she basically said, so that you get a sense of like, oh, that doesn't feel so good, does it? And I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? 1920s men? Because that is not the world we live in today. Like, I just do not understand. It's like this manifestation of issues that don't actually apply anymore. And just like modern times, if you live in such a, I don't know, if you live in a fucking first world country like America, a lot of people have to manifest problems to have because they don't really have any that are like, you know, especially if you're a wealthy person in fucking Hollywood. Like I found it hilarious that they decided to go to Los Angeles of all places that are the most make believe, like nothing like fucking Kentucky, you know, like it's not the real world at all, let alone like an actual example of what America is like. So I just found it fascinating that she, like, the entire point of the movie is something that like it doesn't even reflect reality anymore.
But it's not even consistent on that point. So when Ken first goes, because when they go to the real world offices of Mattel, and Ken is going around trying to get jobs because he's a man, and that's how the patriarchy works. And he doesn't have any qualifications, but you know, and he goes to the Mattel office and he has a conversation with someone about patriarchy, some other guy who works there, and he's talking about how great the patriarchy is, and the real world employee says, "Yeah, it's really good, isn't it?" It's a bit harder to do at the moment these days. And it's sort of, the film is hinting at, the film kind of recognizes that maybe just saying patriarchy is not subtle enough. Maybe there are nuances. Maybe you can't pretend that we have 1920 standards anymore, which would be fine if they followed it through, except that in the very next scene, they go up to the boardroom and one of the comic relief boardroom people says, well, I'm a man without any power. Does that make me a woman?
A woman.
So it's like, okay, but you almost recognized it 2 seconds ago, and now you've completely gone over it and forgotten everything you almost got right. So I don't, again, it's another example of the film not knowing what the hell it was trying to say.
That's why there isn't a point to the movie. I know some of you guys have said like you think the point is whatever it is, but it's so inconsistent that there's like 6 different versions of the point. And it even that what you just said, which is it contradicts itself in terms of men and how they make it in the real world today versus like 100 years ago. In the end of the movie, the President Barbie, the black lady, is like, you know, hey, Simu Liu is like, hey, can we have a Supreme Court position? And she's like, no, I'm gonna set you aside as like some sort of like, you know,
lower
small
circuit
judge thing, circuit judge, and you can start to build up your net value over time like we had to do. So even in that moment, they're acknowledging that they're basically just resetting the clock 100 years, and it has nothing to do with like how society functions today. And it's almost like we're taking revenge on, it's almost like reparations. Really.
Yeah, it's not about equality, it's about revenge, which is like what a lot of victimhood status type of stuff seems to be about.
But then right after that, right, then you're like, oh, fuck this movie. Then right after that, Barbie just says fuck the matriarchy and then leaves for the real world because she's more attracted to the humanist sort of ambiguity of like being a person in the real world, and she doesn't want anything to do with the matriarchy. So the movie doesn't have any like positive things to say about a matriarchy at all. No. It's even though right before that, guys, chat, this is the most contradictory movie of all time. Right before she leaves for the real world, because she's like, I'm way more interested in being a real person. She helps the Barbies in the Barbie land take over Barbie land and turn it into a matriarchy. Like it was her idea. So she has this idea, and then she like abandons the idea and leaves them for another idea.
And the conclusion is an afterthought, like the idea that oh, maybe this isn't so good too. It really is just kind of obligatorily like thrown in there. It doesn't feel like it's actually the point, because you engineer a script to have the audience feel what you want them to feel. So for like the past 20 minutes, the audience is supposed to be rooting for them to get Barbie land back under their control. And then, like, you're not going to undercut them and be like, you guys are so silly for actually thinking that we should have this. They bring up the point and then move it right along.
Yeah, it just keeps going in a different direction, and it keeps
Yeah.
switching directions midway through. So even if you want to follow it for, like let's say the plot or something, it's so nonsensical that in the end, that trumps your enjoyment. So regardless of whether you agree with, the politics that are in the movie, it just ends up being a nothing burger basically of a movie.
That's why I don't hate this movie, because it's not 100. There are people trying to pretend, or maybe they just didn't get it, like that this entire movie is an attack on the patriarchy and a complete subversion of the gender roles. And there's just way too many examples in the movie where it does the opposite of that. So that's why I like this movie is like maybe like a mid kind of 5 out of 6 for me. It's like it could have been great and it could have been horrible, but it was just a mess.
I think it is a slightly strange standard to say that because the film is too incompetent to stick to a point, it must be good. So
Wait,
never underestimate the innate incomprehensibility of very sincere people. There is one incredibly sincere message in this film. The entire film is about one very sincere message. That is the message it did want to impart. Now, the fact it contradicts itself every other moment isn't that it's trying to be clever, isn't that it's trying to subvert the subversion. It's not doing any of that. I just don't think they understand what they are trying to say beyond that one single complaint. And it's the same thing that you see in She-Hulk. She-Hulk had a very similar thing going on. It has a strong message, which it just happens to contradict every time Jen Waters is complaining about anything, because the writers don't understand how privileged they are to be making these complaints to begin with. And Vex, I know you've got your hand up. Sorry. Just interrupt.
It's okay.
Stop being feminine, man.
Interrupt.
Oh, I embrace femininity. I'm sorry. I was gonna say this. Okay, as circular as this movie, or as many tangents as it goes on, I think it gets the message across pretty clearly, which is to parrot basically all of the points of what 4th or 5th wave feminism that we're on right now. So it rejects everything that's feminine. Like from the get-go, it shits basically on motherhood.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It does both.
Dude,
it does both.
Dude, hold on. It fucking
go ahead.
It shows Midge there, right? And they're just like, oh, but we don't talk about Midge. Nobody likes Midge because nobody likes a pregnant Barbie. I was fine with the nobody likes a pregnant Barbie part, but it's the fact that she disses Midge twice before she gets to that point. And on top of that, the entire opening sequence is about rejecting motherhood.
That's it's an interpretation of it, but that's okay.
I wouldn't say that's an interpretation. I would say that's exactly what it meant to do.
I took it as it was just referencing the pregnant Barbie doll that they used to make that was weird. Have you?
No, I'm talking the opening.
No, the opening.
Sequence,
the 2001
sequence.
Oh yeah,
smashing the babies.
Well, I find that like really interesting because Greta Gerwig is a mother.
She just had a baby in the making of the movie. She's a mother.
That's why, like, when I was talking to you, Vex, I went back and decided not to put that in my script because I was like, it would be awful fucking weird
for a guy to say it, like, I guess. Yeah.
Well, in the interview where I figured that out too, she did say she was having like postpartum depression, so maybe she is anti-motherhood. Who knows?
Look, a lot of mothers don't like being mothers. It's just you have to kind of appeal to some of those people a little bit. I mean, it's not you can do both, and they did with the daughter basically being a fucking horrible, miserable bitch in the beginning of the movie.
Daughter, man.
The daughter eventually
fucking irritating.
By the end of the movie, the daughter learned that her mother is actually awesome, and that she was being an ignorant little bitch the whole movie.
More on that. So I understand that. I think you're right. That's what the film wanted to convey. I just don't think it actually showed any of it.
Oh no,
she begins life as this uppity young teenage school rebel feminist, and she doesn't like her mum. She finds her mum deeply cringe. She doesn't change her views, I don't think, at all throughout the film. She's not given any reason to. She's not shown doing it. But by the end of the film, they've come together because one of the vague ideas that these people had in their heads at the time was, wouldn't it be nice if we could show like a family coming together or something? Who knows how we actually go about doing that? But I think the intent was there, but the delivery was questionable.
They show that the daughter basically understanding her mother's perspective more as being like a dark, sort of angsty person, and she's realizing her mom's not just like this one-dimensional person. She compliments her artwork. She realizes that her mom has like, she's her own person and she should be respected. Like they show that they talk about that.
Well,
Like there's a whole scene.
I sort of agree
Yeah.
with you, but I just think that the execution was very poor because she agree when the part where she sees her mother and starts to appreciate her mother, the only time we see something like a sense of her shifting into that position is like one scene before that lasts like a minute, and then you're just like, oh, so
Yeah.
It
It's
doesn't
an
do
afterthought.
enough
And
work.
you can't avoid tell not show if you're throwing it in as an
But
afterthought with the minimal possible deployment of that.
I didn't see the daughter have any sort of arc or even appreciate her mother by the end of the movie because
I don't remember that either.
Yeah, all she really did was like all the daughter really represented is just parroting modernity. That's literally all that's why she threw out all these fucking buzzwords when she first sees Barbie. Even when they go to Barbie Land, she's still like really cringe about everything her mother does. She just kind of starts singing the song because you can see that there's a little bit of guilt, but she doesn't actually go out of her way to accept what her mother feels or what she does. Like even in the final scene where she decides to like design a normal Barbie or some shit like that, she's just kind of there to support a woman for the sake of supporting a
basically.
woman.
Yeah. She's not developed
That's it.
enough. Yeah.
She
She's not
doesn't do
developed at
anything. She's
all.
just a little fucking bitch throughout the entire movie. And that's
She
Yeah.
is insufferable.
She starts insufferable. You see like a shot of her being like, "Aw," and then she doesn't. There's no real conversation between.
There's
her and
no
her mother
redemption
to-
arc for
No.
her at all.
Yeah,
There's no
and not
reason
really.
Doesn't
as
she
to
also
why
follows
she's
the
the way she
same-
is.
It's the same thing with every other like theme or like plot
Yeah.
that they want to do in this movie, where like a bunch of stuff opens up in the second act, and then because of that, just it has so much stuff to say, and it just says nothing in the third, and it just ends with gynecologist.
She's the one who also throws out the just the
fascist.
checkbox of all buzzwords of just like, oh, thanks,
Yeah.
white savior.
Oh yeah, Barbie,
it's
you're
like,
my white
Jesus
savior.
Christ, man.
But
We
that's-
just can't get
Come
away
on.
from anything, can we?
Again, though, that's not the movie saying it. It's the annoying character that we're supposed to hate saying it.
She has a
It's
white
the
father,
same-
though. How are you going to make the daughter say that when her father is very clearly
Yeah,
a white
she's
guy?
a horrible.
Well,
There's so many
she was
things.
happy saying it, man. She was happy. She was smiling when she said, "Barbie, you're the white savior." She was happy as fuck. So I don't know if I really don't get.
Yeah, but
what
do you
they
think
were
Greta
trying to do.
Gerwig thinks Barbie is a white savior, or do you think Greta Gerwig thinks Barbie's a fascist? Like, no, she
No,
doesn't.
I
She
think
said
I
she
think that
did
we were
in the
I
just
have no
making
idea what Greta
fun-
thinks of.
Well, you
Barbie.
should watch interviews about her talking about it. She literally says that she thinks that this movie is satirizing every side of the this spectrum here. It's
She does a
making fun of
really
women.
fucking poor job of
Yeah.
satirizing anything in this movie. Let's be honest. Because like it
It's hard to-
starts off
yeah.
in the first 20 minutes being phenomenal satire. Like you could skate over a lot of the feminism stuff in those
Yeah.
first 20 minutes because there was a lot of fun dialogue, there was fun exposition. You had this great colorful world, and then the exact moment they get into the real world, all the satire is gone, and even when they return to Barbie Land towards the end of the film, the satire still never returns. If anything, it just becomes message after message after message about all these like hardships that women went through. If anything, this entire movie felt like just a giant metaphor for the whole fucking Roe v. Wade thing, because that seemed to be shoved in your face literally every chance that they could get.
I didn't get it. I didn't get the
Like,
Roe v. Wade.
so they start off in a pink world, right? Because the
Yeah.
inside of a woman is pink, right? She gets
Beach war.
ejected suddenly into
Yeah.
she gets fucking ejected into the real world, right? And she gets her femininity completely removed by her over
Yeah.
the course of basically the second act, right? And
Yeah.
you see that essentially culminate in her suddenly deciding that she wants to become real, even though throughout the entire movie, all she experienced was hardships in the real world. And then they decide to dress it up really nicely with like flashbacks of women being happy, which was really fucking weird because every woman is basically miserable this entire movie, including in the real world.
Except
then
the ones
finally-
living in the patriarchy.
Right. And then finally, the very ending scene is her going to the gynecologist, because the most important thing you need to do as soon as you become a human is go to the fucking gynecologist, I guess.
Well,
which
I
is
mean,
something most
technically-
women
Gotta
don't
make
do,
sure
by
it's
the
not
way.
made of plastic.
I mean, yeah, that's well, since she's a Barbie, you've got to make sure it's real. It works.
But it's everything is focused on just vaginas is what I'm trying to point
Well,
out.
isn't that a good thing? I mean, what
it's like a
isn't
female
that the-
stand-up comedian.
what's wrong with saying women have vaginas?
It's because the message the movie is trying to put out there is that women are more than just what their biological functions are, but everything just goes back to vaginas at the very end. And it's quite frustrating to see a movie that's for women trying to
I think it's
empower
based.
women.
So
I think the ending is based.
thank
I think
God
saying,
Amy
I think a
Schumer
woman-
wasn't in this.
I think a woman saying that a vagina will make her more of a woman is actually fucking based.
I think so too.
I'm sorry.
I think,
it's
That
but
could
it's
be
not.
based.
you're
It's
reading
not
into it too
perpetrated that
much.
way. It's more like
It is. No,
oh,
you're reading into it. No, you have your own interpretation. People are doing this too much with this movie. They're not just looking at what it's presenting you, and you're taking your own biases into it, and then
Mhm.
I mean, it's fair to say that this movie is all over the place and very messy. So maybe that's why everybody's confused. Actually, that's probably
think
There's
pretty-
a
that-
counter
that is
example
probably right
on the one you just mentioned about saying a woman
Yeah.
like has a vagina is based. There's a trans
Yeah.
Barbie in Barbie, so I don't think that was
Nobody
what the message
knows.
the film was trying
who
to
kind
go
of
for.
gets unbrainwashed by the patriarchy, coincidentally enough, as well, despite definitely having,
that's true.
you know,
But-
a male fronty there.
I feel like that was just the casting director being
Was-
woke. They didn't say it was trans.
it actually a
some
trans
people might
or-
not know it's a trans person. My mom had no fucking idea.
Yeah,
It
it's
was a
like
trans woman.
it's like
Yeah.
Ian McKellen being Gandalf.
Gay. It's like
Is Gandalf gay? No, it's just Ian McKellen.
I don't know if you've seen the way he looks at Frodo. I think there's a
Frodo,
reason he finds it so
give me
hard to
that
resist
cock
putting his
ring.
finger in the ring. Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but I don't know.
God.
I don't know. It's like
Yeah,
it's
I
like the
agree
Gwen
with Lofty
Stacy
a
is
bit.
trans thing. It's like they haven't said it in the movie, so shut up.
It's like I don't know. I think that people are reading into it a bit too much because of how confusing the movie actually is with its messaging sometimes. So that it just creates, a wonderful discourse, which is fun because at least that'll keep them talking. That'll keep us talking about Barbie for a while now, maybe even till next week. So
Yeah, it's fun,
Well,
but it's notable, right? The fact that we are only really talking about the message because the film doesn't have anything else to complement it.
yeah,
I disagree with that.
We could be talking about.
I could talk about the aesthetic
set
value of this movie
design.
for days. For days.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
we can
some of the
even
camera shots were reasonably well done, but I'm talking about the slightly
Yeah.
more substantive things like plot, story, character, relationship
Oh,
building,
yeah,
world building,
yeah.
like all of those things. The plot fades completely into the background because there barely is one because it's not interested in that. It's not interested in its world building. It doesn't really explore how the connection between girls' imaginations in the Barbie world actually works. For example, it seems quite inconsistent about that point.
That's
and so
true.
without all of these particular things, the only thing you have left to talk about, which is I think the thing the film wants you to talk about, is the message. But that's what makes it doubly fun and frustrating because the message itself is incoherent. So what can we positively say about the film besides some of the camera work? I think some of the song choices were okay as well. But besides that, what is there to it?
What do you think? Oh, I was just going to say, do you think that a film like The Truman Show does a better job with story than this one? Like, I'm just trying to compare it to something else.
I
like
haven't
Elf or
seen it in
something.
a long time, but my gut
But
instinct is
yeah.
to say yes. Absolutely.
yes,
Because you're right about this movie doesn't address it's like there's almost no narrative. It's just go here, go there, go here, go there, and then talk about gender for 2 hours. Like the Truman Show has like a beginning, middle, and end. It has a great story arc. Characters, there's, and then same thing with Elf. There's a decent story there, and this movie doesn't really have a story. It's just it's like location based things with really clever like transition editing, production designs.
I mean, imagine the random ass roller skater in LA that just randomly just went
That'd be
into
really
Barbie
funny.
land. It's like, what the fuck?
That's what I wish they did with the CEOs and stuff. Just like have them take a wrong turn in that like transition, and now they're just like going to like the most bizarre places in Mattel, like their
I just wanted to
IPs.
say something.
No,
yeah.
I'll let him finish.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's all. I just
okay.
wanted Will Ferrell to get lost in the 2D like play transitions. I think that would have been like just really funny. He doesn't even show up in Barbie.
You should have just started
lost.
playing with actual Barbies. That would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
See, you can't say that you shouldn't read into this movie so hard when Greta Gerwig is a director and writer known for putting a lot of forethought into even the little details in what she puts on a screen. So to say that like they're like you're like the Supreme Court stuff is totally just all about like there's even lines where they say, oh, this kind of shit wouldn't happen if a woman were in charge. They even say that their autonomy is being taken away by having men come into the Supreme Court as well. So you really can't sit there and say that, oh, it's you guys are thinking way too deep in it. That's literally a signature of Greta Gerwig. Like everything is
also,
very thickly layered.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it is a problem because like you can barely think into it because once you think into it, nothing works.
Yeah.
and
that's why you
it's
feel
like-
so confused
Yeah,
by
but
the
here's
end
the
of the
thing:
movie.
the Wachowskis have a similar kind of philosophy in terms of storytelling. They're very deep and they ask a lot of questions. And you can read into that film all you want, but it's not a trans allegory. You can read into it that way if you want to, but I don't. I don't read into it.
One
that
of the
way.
Wachowskis
It never
literally
will be a
gave an
trans
interview
allegory.
saying that the original Matrix is a trans allegory.
No. The Wachowskis said they had at the very most like a subconscious when they were writing it, they had no intention of anything trans related. It was Plato's
Also-
allegory.
I'll send you the interview.
Also, I would.
I did a
would.
whole video on this. There's nothing. They denied it. The journalist asked them, and they were like, "Actually, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this isn't really we weren't thinking about it being a trans allegory at the time."
I would also say
well,
that
maybe they retroactively said it then and decided that because
Yeah.
like I have a whole
not.
interview and I was going to do a Matrix video too where they straight up discuss that it is. So it's interesting.
I would also say that I shouldn't need to watch an interview to understand a movie.
No, you shouldn't.
No, it just
They're
like
right,
helps
like-
inform more, but like especially if you're going to overanalyze a film like we are apparently. So
Well, if you're over,
I mean, the story
You may-
should just be by itself, right? Like I shouldn't have to watch a bunch of interviews about a person. I shouldn't have to watch a bunch of interviews about the behind the scenes. Like I should just be able to see the movie and see what the artist is trying to tell me through the movie, and not have to have the artist tell me. Like I'm not going to watch a bunch of Zack Snyder interviews to understand this. I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that.
you need to read the source material, bro.
True.
But Kubrick in 2001 has had so many different takeaways of that movie in terms of its like meanings and themes and things. There's just widely different. Same with The Matrix. People have completely different interpretations of those movies, and that's great. Like sometimes maybe you should ask. Maybe you should read the book, and maybe you'll have a different interpretation if you read this 2001 the novel. And with The Matrix, it's like, you might think this is a trans allegory, but that's not how I have to interpret it, like just because you interpret it that way. Same thing with this movie. I think it's perfectly fine to interpret this movie as a sort of satire on like the gender spectrums, and then just kind of a little bit of a messy portrayal of what humans should just sort of be more egalitarian in their societies and less gendered and different. But
The film does a horrible job at saying that we should be less gendered by literally reinforcing every gender stereotype there is, though.
yeah, but part of that is satire, though.
None of it is satire, though. Aside from the first 20 minutes, literally none of it is satire. Like
I'd
even
say
towards
there's like a
even
little
to-
satire, but it's pretty rough.
There's
But
some but the
satire. So one of the
distinguishes
definitions of satire that distinguishes it from parody is that satire is supposed to convey some sort of deeper, underlying, fairly consistent truth. That's what distinguishes satire from parody. Parody is simply saying, "Look at this thing. How can we make it bizarre and funny?" Satire is, "Look at this thing. How can we repurpose it in a way that reveals something consistently underlying it?" I don't know that there is a huge amount of that in this film. Beyond, I think the first 20 minutes, as people have said, first 20 minutes, there is a little bit of what you might call satire. Occasionally, there are brief outbreaks for about 30 seconds for the rest of the film that you might call satire, except that they're then contradicted by the next satirical attempt. So it only resembles parody in the end, as opposed to satire, because it doesn't have a message to convey.
Oh, just to shout out critical drinkers in the chat.
Oh,
Hey, buddy.
hello.
Howdy.
Yo.
Yo. And no one can miss a Barbie talk.
True, it's everywhere. We
I
gotta
gotta talk about
it.
Barbie.
I think I don't know. It's like all this movie gave me was a good Billie Eilish song, so that's all I needed.
I think it's hilarious that the best part of the movie, and the only part where I actually chuckled, was when Ken was singing Matchbox 20. It's the only
Ken War
section.
was amazing. Like Bagface said earlier, someone gets stabbed
Ken
with a lacrosse stick. It's just so bizarre and funny. I could
I
watch
want
that
just a
sequence
Ken
again.
movie. I really hope that spinoff
I
happens.
think they will. Once the strike's done, I think they will probably greenlight one. 100%.
I wouldn't be
thought
surprised.
It's
about
Ryan
that.
Gosling. They can't not do that. Like that's
I thought
gonna happen.
all of the Kendom moments were awesome. Like I was like, I just want to be in Kendom.
Yeah.
Like
Screw
I don't know.
Barbie World. Let us in Kendom, Mojo Dojo, Casa House.
Yeah, and just like play pool and watch The Godfather and like mansplain to women. Like that sounds great.
That whole
Amen,
section was so
brother.
funny because like
I loved it.
the whole movie is about the concept of women just the impossibility of being a woman and how difficult it is, but then they manipulate these simple-minded men super easily, and there's also no repercussions to their manipulation at all.
You say simple-minded, but every single one of the interests they're shown having are quite deep and
Oh,
complex and,
yeah, I
and
know.
educated. And it's one of the weird things about this film because, okay, let's run with the idea that the film does want to say nice things, if not about the matriarchy per se, then at least about womanhood. And it will disparage men's sort of single-minded interests in that instance. It will disparage the tendency to mansplain in that particular instance as well. But when it comes to the other side, when you say, well, okay, what have you got to say for womanhood? What is your conception of the woman alternative? There's nothing there. So the Kens can be interested in all this fantastic stuff, which incidentally is probably the only reason all the dream houses got built to begin with. And the Barbies have nothing besides just, well, it's pink and kind of fun and nice.
To become a man at the end. That's all that happens is she becomes masculine by the very end. And it's like the whole transition is completed by the fact that she literally looks like the most basic bitch by the end of the film, and she's wearing literally a man's blazer. So the whole point of this is to reject everything that's traditionally feminine, but we should become masculine instead. And she even has a line of, I don't want to be the idea anymore. I want to start creating ideas, which is, look at the fucking modern world. Most of it's created by man, right? So.
Oh, that's because women didn't get the
and like
chance.
Like during the whole third act, like I was just on my phone. I didn't care. And then like out of nowhere, like the old chick comes in and she's like, I do tax evasion.
Was she a ghost?
I don't know what she was. She, an immortal being.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the fuck that even was supposed to be.
And then like I think she says a line. I think it's like, mothers stay back so their daughters can look back and see how far they've gone. And I was like, whoa, that's like a good idea there. But then like they went on to more bad dialogue. But that line in particular, I looked up, I was like, wow. And then I just went back on my phone.
Even then, I'm not sure that quite holds up. I think it's a nice sounding line. I think the sentiment is nice, but mothers stand still so their daughters can look back and see how far they've come. I don't think mothers stand still. My mum didn't stand still. I don't know anyone's mum who stands still. No mothers.
Well, this is. Sorry. Finish your point. Sorry.
Yeah,
Did Little Platoon freeze?
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's.
I think he's done.
he died.
He
He's
just
in Barbie
AI'd
Land.
out.
He's just shocked. That's all.
He beat
All that money on that expensive ass fucking computer, and this is what happened.
He leaves every 15 minutes.
I think
said-
Oppenheimer got him.
Jesus fucking Christ! Is
The
his
whole
DM.
line of saying that women mothers stand still so their daughters can look back at them is just another jab at the whole motherhood thing, right? Like motherhood is supposed to be like, it should be embraced as something that is like truly spectacular. You're creating and raising a fucking human being. That's something to be really proud of. And they're just like, nah, fuck that. We're just here to basically be birthing people, and you're meant to take the mantle for everything. It like there's jab after jab. Even the entire mother-daughter relationship, there's no actual resolution to the issues they have. The mother isn't actually trying to figure out what is wrong with her daughter in the few glimpses that were given of like the before or whatever. Even the daughter is not attempting to try, even though she knows that her mother is having issues, right? So
I could have come without that character.
Yeah, that entire like relationship was literally just meant to show that motherhood is not worth it, because you end up, being upset about this, and then you have a midlife crisis, and then you'll have a kid that doesn't like you.
Yeah, someone earlier compared the mother-daughter thing to the son and father dynamic in the Lego movie earlier. And it's like, man, that movie did way more with that
better.
With like 5 minutes of the ending than this movie did with like the second and third act of this entire movie.
I mean, the mother and daughter in this movie, they felt so useless to the point where it was like, so it's as if you're watching something like Godzilla versus Kong, and you're like, oh man, we have to switch back to the human characters again. I want to follow the nice stuff going on. I don't want to see this shit. Yeah, it was so weird. It just felt out of place, and I think that is also what what made Barbie's development, well, if you can call it development,
Yeah,
it's
if
like
you can call it that.
yeah, if I think that's what made Barbie's development in comparisons to Ken feel lacking, because they tried to incorporate the mother and daughter story into her story to make her who she becomes. But since you have the mother and daughter aspect that doesn't work, it can't help or it can't influence Barbie's aspect. So in the end, your protagonist and basically the title character ends up being flat, and you have Ken that's just there dominating everything. Plus they give Ken such vulnerability, and Ryan Gosling plays him well as well. So you can just feel for him once the movie starts. I think in the first 10 minutes you feel for Ken in comparison to Barbie. You're just like, oh man, this dude just he just wants to be seen. And the film constantly gives you elements even when Ken isn't in the scene. It's like, oh, the Kens are just superfluous. That's what Barbie says. She's like, oh no, don't tell anyone. Then after that, you have things like, oh, where do the Kens actually sleep? We don't know. You're like, oh
I
man,
have no idea.
That's pretty dark. That's pretty
You're homeless.
depressing. Yeah.
They beach all day. That's all they do. They just
And they
just
beat each
all
other off afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
we
beat
beach
each other
off.
off.
We are Ken enough.
Yeah, we're Ken off.
I think it's beautiful that in a movie that's supposed to be like the feminist movie of the year, maybe the decade, that the best part of it was a man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's
like
funny.
this movie
The irony, man.
is carried by Ken, because when I left the theater, all of like my we were just talking about Ken and quoting Ken.
Yeah.
Like the quote that was funniest to me was where
Because
Ken's
men
like,
are funny.
yeah.
I mean, this
like,
is a comedy, so what did you expect? Other than,
and
A
like
bunch of vagina jokes if it was a stand-up woman.
the funniest joke was
If Amy
like,
Schumer got cast, there you go. That's what it would have been.
yikes.
Ew.
The funniest joke was like Ken says, man, I was really interested in the patriarchy until I found out it wasn't about horses.
Yeah.
It was just like it was just so funny.
Which is interesting because girls are usually the ones that want ponies as kids. So it was
Nah,
a weird
but
take.
men all want to be part of, like, men all want to at least live in the 18th century, like Red Dead Redemption in
Listen,
real
we want to
life,
be
bro.
cowboys. All right?
Everybody
Yeah,
wants to be a fucking cowboy.
It's the male fantasy.
Yeah,
it's
bro.
just to be a cowboy.
This is what I want right here. Just Ryan Gosling, just like,
Amen.
hanging
Look
out with
at
his
those
dog.
boots. Look at those boots. Amen.
Look at this doggy. That's what I want. No, no, I think it's also the fact that Ken is an accessory in the Barbie universe. He never actually got to do anything with his own agent. Like he never rode a horse. She probably rode a million horses. So that's part of it. And Ken realizing that being an accessory is boring, and then it's exciting to finally be able to like be all these cool things. I don't know where he got the brewski thing. I guess that's like part of just making fun of like bro culture, I guess.
Yeah.
He walked into a gym.
Yeah,
I don't care. Look, I don't care if a movie, if they want to make fun of like dudes that are kind of overly douchey a little bit. Like to me, I'm not offended. I don't get insecure about that shit. It's fun. It's kind of funny.
Well, that's where she really knocked it out of the park in be like making like stereotypical males really funny, but then she can't do the same for females, which is what makes it really disappointing and really confusing, because she applies one kind of like character development to just the men, and then it's completely lost on all of like legitimately every female character for the rest of the movie.
That goes with the point I've been making on the third goddamn stream. I'll make it here too. The ending, they try and come to a conclusion where it's more about equality, but they never mention the word matriarchy, but they mention patriarchy a dozen times, because they give way more screen time to that sort of thing, but it's not balanced or equal at all, like let alone mentioning that word one time.
It is Barbie though. It's you have to appeal to the 70% of the people who are going to watch it. I think they were probably afraid of making fun of women in the same way, and maybe it was a little bit top-down influence. That maybe she would have gone a little bit harder if she had more freedom. I don't know, but that's why it doesn't bother me, because it's a Barbie movie. It's not for me, but I happen to like some of it, and it's just.
Well,
I guess that's why I am bothered
except that
by
the
it.
marketing material explicitly billed itself as for everyone. So you were you were led to the cinema on the under the impression that it was for everyone, and everyone includes you.
Yeah.
And then when the film comes out, and it turns out that the marketing campaign was probably one of the biggest media lies I can think of in recent times.
Yeah, it was really.
so
That was the first thing I texted you guys when I got out of
Yeah.
the theater Wednesday. It was like, well, the fucking marketing team did a great job.
They did, but there are two ways of looking at that. The most innocent explanation is that they thought the true nature of the film would piss people off, so they didn't want to put that out there. I think that's believable. The other one is that actually the film very much is for you, because what it wants to do is put you in that seat under false pretenses in order to tell you off, or to tell you moral lessons, or to give you information, to propagandize at you. I think that's the other way of looking at it, which is almost equivalently believable. So the question of who the movie is for is a difficult one. I don't know who the movie really is for, because the movie seems to want to be for the people who dislike it the most.
They did have that Gosling line making fun of the woman doctor, though, in the trailer. I feel like they gave some of it away, and I knew it was going to be a little edgy. I don't know. I just didn't expect it to be so, in your face with the.
I just think
preaching.
Warner Bros. Needed money, so they were just like, you know what? If we give away all of this in the marketing, then people are probably not gonna come up, and so that's it. They just did deceptive marketing because they needed money. I mean, Warner Bros. Is in the shit right now.
Look, a lot of women like this movie.
Yes.
I watched Simcast last night. They all liked it. And it's funny because I just wanted to see what I just wanted to see what they were talking about. And I wanted to get different perspectives. I've tried to watch as many Barbie streams as possible, but like Brittany Venti, like Chrissy Meyer, they liked the movie. And I was kind of shocked.
Oh, that's why my guy Before You Sleep said it was okay. And I was like, God damn, dude. That's really too bad, man. They got you too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And this movie has very, very high audience score reviews. Like anywhere you go, it doesn't matter what site you go to. I go to Letterboxd because they're not susceptible to like review bombing and stuff as much. So I go there to kind of gauge a better audience score. And there's like 200,000 5-star reviews on Letterboxd. Jesus. And it's just it's a very well received.
It's a weird thing as well, the fact that a number of people who will waste no time in saying that any even vaguely innocuous thing is woke have apparently just taken the glasses off for this one.
Yep.
This one is fine.
Yeah.
This one's fine because it's funny, all right? It's fine because it's funny.
This is why I think Barbie is getting so many good reviews. I'm pretty sure this is literally just brainwashing at its best. The first 20 minutes just feels so like it's so colorful, it's so fun, it's got a lot of good jokes in there, it's silly. And then once you get to the real world, I don't know if you guys experience this as well, but literally every scene where they were in the real world, I just kind of like I wasn't even there mentally anymore.
Oh yeah,
I was only there when the color came back onto the screen.
The problem is everyone in the real world is still written like the people in Barbie Land. So that's
they're
the
still
massive
silly and over the
disconnect
top.
there.
Yeah,
so
I feel like
isn't the real world. It's just another cartoon world.
So you walk away thinking that the movie is much better than it actually is because all you're remembering is the colorful sequences and the fact that basically all of us just remember Ken or see Ken as the highlight, and all of his scenes basically took place in Barbie Land is kind of symptomatic of that as well.
That's probably part of some of the maybe there is some brainwash. There's always people on either side that like review bomb it into like 0 or 10 out of 10 when it really doesn't deserve it. Like Last of Us gets this treatment from the people on the other side thinking everything's a masterpiece, and it's just like, well, the movie's kind of mid in terms of the gameplay. But the other thing is, I mentioned Letterboxd. There's a lot of this site's kind of niche. It's more like for cinephiles, kind of, I guess, the vibe. A lot of people are giving like this movie is giving me Everything Everywhere vibes a little bit in terms of the way it's being received by like cinephiles and people who are like really into films, because it has dozens, if not probably just dozens of references to classic films, Oklahoma, Wings of Desire, a lot of like French New Wave films, a lot of classic Hollywood films, and it's very cinematic and it's very aesthetically, well done, and it appeals to those sort of more art people that appreciate film as an art form.
Yeah,
and that has nothing to do with.
We can't keep that consistently up because I agree with you. I think, and I liked.
Yeah. Oh, he died again.
Bro died again.
Dude, Oppenheimer, stop dropping nukes, buddy.
How much was that new PC again?
Homie's about to buy a new one.
It does do a lot of things like
probably
stylistically really well.
Yeah.
I will give it that,
Yes.
right? And
Oh
that's why
yeah,
I
even
can't.
referencing old Hollywood, it just
Yeah.
does it so well.
It even references Hitchcock in a lot of it went over people's heads. If you're not paying attention, it's like it might just seem like a dumb movie, but like there's a lot of sophisticated like photography and things going on. But
I think streaming with Andrew and talking to you too, Lofty, has made me like reappreciate other sections of film that I kind of take for granted at this point because I mostly dissect story.
Yeah.
But all the same too, I saw someone say once, and I totally agreed. I think a lot of people they mistake great cinematography for good directing.
oh, like Zack Snyder.
Oh yeah,
I know exactly what you
the
mean.
ultimate
Yeah.
Zack Snyder fucking
I know.
hater.
I know.
Yeah, I think like I do like I love cinematography, I love visuals and stuff, but like and like I can praise this movie for that, but what is the most important part is
What is a
the
woman?
story. Yes, is the story.
got
If
no
the story just
substance.
doesn't work and
Yeah.
there's no substance, then nah.
Yeah, but if imagine if you're sort of politically left leaning, like even if you're sort of in the middle and you appreciate some of these feminist ideas, and then you also like really like cinema as an art form, you're probably gonna love this movie. You know, if you think women are being mistreated even in today's society, if you think that men sort of have it easy, even if you just casually think that, like, there's nothing about this movie that's gonna like
I mean,
really pissed you off in any.
I don't
really
know. I don't know
meaningful
if
way.
I don't know if I'd agree.
disagree.
I think
Yeah,
I mean it all depends on like whether they do it
I'm
right.
not saying
or
I
not.
think that. I just
Yeah. It's like
yeah, for sure.
because I have no idea. I haven't really watched any reviews for this, so I have no idea how people on the left would see this movie in terms of how it's portraying it. And like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what it's portraying; it matters how well it is. And for that, I have no idea whether or not it's doing it
I
well.
think we're
And it probably
forgetting-
isn't. And yeah, I
guess
assume
I'm
that it
saying
isn't
that,
just
like,
because.
I grabbed
What's
a
up,
bunch
Doug?
of shit from TikTok for my review because
Nice.
yeah, that's like the perfect way to get a pulse of like what culture is going on right now.
Is
but
Platoon okay? Is he
he's
ground
switching
zero
over
Hiroshima?
To his, he's gonna switch over to his laptop so this shit stops
Okay.
happening.
I honestly think it might be his power supply. I think his village can't handle his giant
his
PC
little
that he has.
his little hobbiton that
His
he's
little
living in.
straw,
Yeah.
his straw thatched roof can't handle this.
That happened to me before. I hate it.
But I think we're forgetting that like simple things, like being seen matters to a younger generation. And I was reading that 35 or
Disgusting.
under, like a huge section of women went to see this that are 35 and under. And a lot of people are walking away from that one speech and that is the crux of the movie. Like that's the big aha moment for a lot of the
Woman
audience of
under
like the
35?
impossibility of being
I didn't even
of being a woman.
understand that speech.
I didn't either.
me
It was a
neither.
contradiction.
It was so
one thing I
dumb.
liked about it is they called out woke women a little bit in it, but I like, you know, women who make fun of other women for various body image reasons. And then the rest of it, I couldn't really follow the logic. It was
You want to know why? It's
Yeah,
because
no,
all
I
that speech did was do what a lot of women
was word
typically
vomit.
do, and it was place the blame on everything else but themselves. That's all that speech was meant to do.
Yeah.
The thing I dropped in of like it was like AP or they were interviewing people coming out of the theater and they interviewed these young women. They must have been in their like early 20s, maybe mid 20s. And they were like, Greta Gerwig said everything that women just want to hear and feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like
20s.
that's a
What
great
the fuck are
example
you
of what most people have
experiencing,
walked out
man?
thinking.
I don't get it. What are you experiencing to see that this is real? Especially if you have like money to go to the cinema to watch Barbie in a group. It doesn't feel as if you have a lot of problems.
Well,
you know?
exactly. That's what I was saying earlier, is that a lot of people don't understand how privileged they are to be able to even make these fucking claims.
Yeah, that's
Or
why
Like
to
they have
go
to
dressed up
manifest
as
issues.
Barbies. To
Yeah,
this
like you
movie as
have
well.
to manifest issues.
Yeah, if
because you
people are
live in a
saying-
first world. Like
yeah, if there's people out there saying this movie is like super serious and important and like life-saving, like those people are retarded. Like this movie is at the very if I'm being most generous about this, like if I'm being most generous, I would say this movie has, with how it ended with her leaving the Barbie land and just wanting to be a normal person, it has like a nice message, but it's not at all serious and it's confusing. And but people are are you saying people are saying this movie is some sort of like groundbreaking gender
Yes, dude.
shattering
Yes,
I
I've
thing.
fucking
seen it.
literally
I've
saw
seen it
people
on
talking
Twitter,
about
yeah.
how this meant more to them than anything Oppenheimer presented them.
What?
What the
That's
fuck?
Yes,
crazy.
I'm not fucking
Bro,
kidding. It's like-
I tweeted out. I
You know
tweeted
what's
out
up there?
Barbie is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. I was joking, and then I saw people keep doing it unironically.
A better feminist movie, a better feminist film than Barbie is Kill Bill by far. It's
Oh,
not even close.
absolutely.
100%.
sure.
Not even
Yeah.
close.
That actually involves motherhood.
And it involves
So-
motherhood. The whole crux of the movie is about a mother and her daughter, and a woman who has trained her whole life to become strong. It's such a very powerful feminist movie, and Tarantino was proudly, talking about, pitching that movie to, audiences as, you should take your daughters to see this movie. It's an empowering movie, and he's obviously, it's a violent movie, but
Mhm.
he's kind of one of those people who thinks, certain groups of people can, when I was 13, I was playing Resident Evil. Like I'm fine with stuff like that, but like in terms of violence, but it is an empowering, and like Alien, another
I was
fantastic
gonna say Aliens
feminist
is
movie.
the more empowering one in my
I'd
I'd
opinion.
say honestly,
Yeah.
I'd say like the movie did it come out this year? I think like Cocaine Bear is a better feminist movie than this one.
I think so too. I gave Cocaine Bear a recommendation.
Yeah.
on my
I
thing.
love Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, I
Cocaine
thought it
Bear
was
is
funny.
so great. I
Um,
love it.
This film reminds me of As Good as It Gets, which we mentioned last night, Vex.
Yep.
Because they asked,
Oh,
a
Jack
woman
Nicholson.
asked Jack Nicholson's
Yeah.
character how he writes women so well. And he said, I think of a man and I take away reason and accountability.
Oh, great line. Dude,
Based.
Woody Allen writes women really well too. He's a little controversial character, but I thought his films always have really good female characters, and a lot of women like to work with him. And he's Scarlett Johansson. Like every woman in Hollywood has worked with Woody Allen and Tarantino because of how he writes women really well.
Mhm.
Yep.
I think I'm right in saying, and I think
Yeah.
this is where I was leaving off before my computer killed itself for the fourth time in a row. That he's also a very, very big influence on Greta Gerwig. I think she has cited him as being one of her foremost inspirations, which is the thing I was going to go on to say. That the weird inconsistency about that is that the film will take the piss out of Ken's for really wanting to understand what makes Scorsese films work and how The Godfather is brilliant, because that's mansplaining. But she will happily talk in interviews about how inspirational and influential Woody Allen is. And I'm thinking, well, what are you doing here? Make your mind up.
Being
Yeah.
a woman, that's all she's doing.
Have you ever heard her? You all heard her in interviews. She has a hard time talking. She stutters. She doesn't know what she's saying half the time. It's very like, it's hard to watch her talk. Margot
She's like
Robbie's
me.
better. No, she's not like anybody here. She'll take 5 minutes to say like one thing.
Oh, so she's
You
like
can tell
Elon
she's an
Musk,
introverted
except-
personality.
She's very. I'm not blaming
Yeah.
her. I'm saying she's kind of
Yeah.
awkward, and I like that about her. But she doesn't really seem to know how to explain what she's doing.
Yeah, which
That's
is kind of
fine.
a problem, but
That's fine. But be right back.
So as far as this
Guy?
film's performance, and again, correct me if you've already covered this while I was dead, but so it's performing very well, isn't it? I think is it
Made
over
300
300 million as an opening weekend?
350?
Yeah.
How are we looking at this going forward? Is this going to carry on flying? Is it going to bomb in the second weekend? Is it going to be somewhere in
Huge
the
drop
middle?
second weekend. Huge drop.
So, like, my
Really?
personal prediction is I think the Barbie is going to have a big second weekend drop, which I think is inevitable because of how big the opening weekend was. So I'd say around 70% maybe. And I think the Oppenheimer will also drop. And eventually Mission Impossible will probably overtake internationally, again, will earn back its place. And then Sound of Freedom domestically, because it's not out internationally, will probably go back and make more money. So once Barbenheimer is over, I think the Barbie will still have a steady pace and probably go up to 800 million, because I know that there's a big rewatchability factor, especially the rewatchability factor in a group as opposed to something like
Hold on.
an
Oppenheimer.
event movie.
But Barbie is really struggling to like find any footing in international markets, which I think is a pretty big deal right there.
Not quite. It opened at 350.
It's
355 international and 155 domestic. So it's finding like 58% ish.
Yeah, so it's
I
at
mean, it's
162 domestic and 194 international.
Okay, so it's kind of like the Black Panther thing. It really
Okay.
is, because Black Panther movies, so like Transformers MCU movies typically are doing like 70-30. 70% of their box office comes from global, and the other half comes from the other 30% is domestic. And then when you get to these movies that are like culturally significant, they're only culturally significant to America because they end up with more of a 50-50 split, because most people in the fucking world don't care about our problems. That's why I'm saying too, like, we manifest these fucking issues in these movies.
Yeah,
they are
put them all in LA.
very much your problem. So it's always interesting to me how so much of particularly modern feminism is just unique to American women, just as race relations
really
is unique to African Americans. If you go to Japan, for example, which is most of the men do almost all of the work, but it's an incredibly matriarchal society, and the women have complete control over households. I don't think I can't really see Barbie's weird occasional hypocritical feminism actually playing at all well over in any more traditional country where actually these kinds of concerns simply are not there in the same way.
Yeah, that's why I was saying there's no way this movie hits $1 billion, because there's not enough people outside America that gives a fuck.
Oh no!
I'm gonna say, like, China, it's only made $10 million so far in 4 days.
There's no way this movie's gonna hit $1 billion.
But China, no one gives a fuck. I think it's in the UK actually that it made a big opening. I think it was like their
So it's
second
the West
biggest
only
opening,
then.
I think. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. In France over here, I'm not sure how big the opening was, but I mean, my theater was absolutely packed when I went to see Oppenheimer. So everything for Barbie was packed, and most of it were young people. And I think the young people will just go back in droves to the cinema to rewatch it. And I think that's what's gonna make what's gonna make it stay so long in the cinemas, and that's what's gonna make it earn money. Especially the group factor of it. Like, people are gonna go watch it for the meme factor, going in a group.
No.
So
Bagface wants
no
a day off.
Bagface.
No, I don't get a day off.
But yeah.
There is, I mean, because when I went, and I think Cynic, you probably know this better than I do. When I went, I reckon of my full cinema, probably 80 to 85% was girls under the age of 25. The only men there were me, occasional boyfriends, and people very desperate to get laid, and that was basically it. There were only
I saw a lot of
5%.
dads in my theater. A lot of dads with their daughters took them to see Barbie, which is kind of disappointing because I don't see how a kid's going to understand anything that movie was discussing.
Yeah,
no, I
don't know
think
why.
people forget it's PG-13.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know
this
why
isn't-
people are taking their kids to watch this movie. It is definitely PG-13.
There's a lot of the marketing was geared to like little girls. Like
That's
half
true.
of the clothing line was for kids that was put out there. So, and they even made all the movie related Barbie dolls as well.
I mean, I'd say they do this for like most MCU movies, right? All of them are PG-13, but they also like Lego sets, T-shirts, Funko Pops, like all of the stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff geared towards kids because kids make the most money, right? So
It's a lot simpler though with Marvel movies because it's always just like, oh, introduce a good guy, some bad guy stuff happens, there's a fight with the villain, everything ends and everyone's happy. So it's easy for a PG-13 for a kid to pick up on it. With Barbie, you don't know what the fuck is going on. So I'm just wondering, like, past the first 20 minutes, how a kid is even going to enjoy, let alone understand what's going on.
they might like Ken, but that's about it.
Some positives to take away from this movie, though. Sorry, Lofti, you have something to say about
I was going to say while I was gone, I heard somebody mention the East being sort of traditional feminist, especially with like. I just wanted to bring up like Miyazaki as a good example of someone from a filmmaker from Japan who is a very pro-feminist, pro-environmentalist, like sort of progressive director. He always has been, but he does it in a way that's like inviting everybody in on the sort of like positive aspects of it, especially feminism, like, you know, Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, like they run the Ironworks village. She's the leader of the military. But they do it in a way that's like charming. And I don't know if they're going to vibe with some of this, like this more edgy, like weird.
Even like
It's charming
Korea,
and productive.
South Korea's been
Less
dumping
tasteless.
this too.
Yeah, South Korea is very, like they do. And it's been like that for years. I mean, Kurosawa was a very feminist filmmaker, and you know, Shinoda and a lot of these. Yeah, it's just what we're dealing with in America is like, it's like they made this with half the movie is like you kind of have to have a knowledge of like Twitter to like kind of figure out what they're talking about.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like the whole fascist thing, like if you're not like terminally online, like you would probably come away with that thinking, why did she call Barbie a fascist? Like, where did that come
Mhm.
from? But obviously, it came from the rhetoric that we're all kind of in
Yeah.
communities.
Yep.
But
Doesn't she unironically go on an anti-capitalism rant too when she bitches at
Yeah.
Barbie the first time?
Yeah.
Okay. Just given all the marketing collaborations, that
Yeah,
was an interesting take to throw in there.
Yeah, with the white savior thing and all this stuff, and we're like, okay, you're just checking all the buzzword stuff you got to get out, and then you'll say it's satire and clever. Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
I was
Barbie
gonna
is
say
Batman. That's a crazy.
the positives to take away from this weekend though are like, even though Barbie is an established IP, it's not. This is the first movie, and then you also have Oppenheimer, which we're going to discuss. And this is the fourth biggest box office weekend money wise in history, and that's
Yep.
incredible. And as a movie goer, I love going to the theater. I'm gonna go see a shitty horror movie tonight that I'm not even gonna review. I just love going to the movies, and that makes me really happy that like there's potential for movie theaters to be saved. It can collapse after I die for all I care. But,
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
the kids. I don't care. But I want movie theaters to be healthy. It's a lot of fun going, and
Yep.
it just goes to show like a movie about a scientist that's a biopic that's 3 hours long, that's super dialogue heavy, and a fucking pink femme movie
Yeah.
And
made
Barbie.
the fourth biggest weekend ever at the box office is incredible news, and it should show. And they were also made for only $100 million a piece, which is amazing.
Mhm.
They're both going to be seeing profit here soon, just at the box office. And I hope that signals to studios that like
Yep.
we want original IP.
Yes.
Yeah, like stop with the capes. You can tell I mean, you can just look at the box office numbers. They don't lie. The numbers are dwindling for those movies. They're either breaking even or, well, now they're floundering and dying and not
Mhm.
making any money and losing hundreds of millions of dollars. And stop with the goddamn, legacy sequels and all this stuff. And people will go see original movies and movies that are good. Like, even though I don't like Barbie, a lot of goddamn people do. So just give people what
Yeah.
they want.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're literally telling movie studios now what we want. And I hope they listen.
Yeah, and I was really happy like going into the theater and like there was a lot of people in it. Like we got there early. I'm just like, why do we need to go early? Like nobody comes to my theater. We're in the middle of nowhere. And then we got there and it was packed. And then like while the trailers and stuff are going, people are still like filing in for Barbie.
Mhm.
And I was just like, yay, there's people here.
Yeah, it's such a
Yeah,
good
it's
feeling to
cool.
go
And
to
it's
a
like,
packed
and it's
cinema.
like, even though the movie was bad, like this movie was like bad, but they're like, you have Ken there, and like during the entire movie, I was just looking over at my brother and making fun of the movie, like during the entire thing.
Yeah,
So,
it's
like,
really cool, except for
it's
the
just fun.
350-pound dude I sat next to.
Damn.
That wasn't fun. He smelled like patchouli, but normally it's a lot of fun.
Man, but I just love going to the cinema. I mean, I love the cinema so much that my mom, when I was growing up, she actually called the cinema my second home because I like most of the time, if I was out of the house and not going to school, I was basically at the cinema, and I knew everyone who worked at the cinema so well that sometimes I just go for free, and which was cool because I didn't have that much money at that point growing up, so I would just spend my entire like. For example, on my 17th birthday, my mom gave me money and she said, take all your friends out, go to the restaurant, buy them dinner, and have a good day out. I went to the cinema at 10 a.m. and I got back home at like midnight. I just spent the entire day alone at the cinema. It's just so
No
fucking
friends,
fun.
just
Yeah.
a movie.
I was like, fuck it, man. I prefer going to the movies. It's just so fun.
I'm all for the idea of cinema. I hate people. People are not my thing. But I like the
That's
cinema
fair.
exists.
That's
I like
very
the
fair.
idea of community. I just like being apart from it. So when I was sat there for a full cinema for Mission Impossible, I thought, you know what? Probably good. I think this is a good thing. And everyone left quietly, and I didn't really have too much of a bad time. End of Barbie, even fuller, much bigger cinema, mostly girls, as I say, under the age of 25. Film closes, probably 25 to 30% of them decided just to start shrieking loudly.
Oh,
And
God.
I suddenly realized why I would not be opposed to seeing this Oppenheimer out of existence. But it's good for the box office. It's good for cinema.
It is
Hooray.
good for the box office.
But the
Yeah.
drop-off will be interesting to note, because you wonder how much the false advertising will have had an effect and how many people then word of mouth spreads and people realize that Barbie is not quite the film that they thought they were being sold. And then maybe there's a big drop. Alternatively, it very successfully speaks to a very large contingent of mostly white, Western, English-speaking women who are bored and privileged and need something to rail against because everybody else has something, so they have it as well. In which case, it might continue to do very, very well at the box office. But I think that would be the worst of the two outcomes.
And also, you have to check if the humor can translate to the different countries too, because you have the
Oh yeah, it's
well, you know,
super
the
absurd.
the white,
Yeah.
like basically the Western problems inside it, but you've also got the humor that you have to pay attention to, because I don't think that humor translates well over
Yeah.
here in
No.
France. So it might not have a certain hold, well, as much as I think it would have had in countries other than the US, which is also, you know, a big problem.
And just think, man, if the movie holds well, that's just more job security for people like Platoon and me. It's fine.
I just
It's
think it's a
great.
good vibe in general for the industry. I think what you said, Movie Cynic, about originality, innovation, movies like Flash flopping and Indy 5 flopping, and then meanwhile Oppenheimer makes 200 million, it's a great sign. Hollywood should be paying attention and stop. I'm tired. I said this on my stream. I'm tired of like good filmmakers being relegated to streaming. Like Del Toro's Pinocchio was so good, but it was a Netflix original, and then his next Frankenstein movie is sadly also a Netflix original.
Really?
And and like I said, David Fincher has a movie coming out this year. It's on Netflix, and then Martin Scorsese's Apple TV. And it's like, fucking put these movies in theaters and then market them really well. And then, like, I hope Napoleon does well. I hope Dune does well. And you know what I mean? Like, I'm all for Hollywood when they're churning out like original good content. My favorite movies ever made have been made under the Hollywood system. So I would be a hypocrite if I'm suddenly, you know, oh, Hollywood doesn't need to exist. Like, okay, you can cope if you want, but Hollywood makes your favorite fucking movies. They just do. I mean, Lord of the Rings, everybody's a fan of that movie. So you don't want them to die. It's just like that you'd rather we send messages like this, like Oppenheimer. And I hope, like I said, Dune, I think Napoleon is a potential, like Top Gun, Mario. We need to send better messages to Hollywood. Stop funding Disney, you know, conveyor belt like bullshit.
I also don't see why these streamers don't give proper cinema releases anyway, because a lot of cinema releases nowadays only last like 45 days, and it can be exclusive to their streaming service.
Some of them do cinema releases,
but only if it's
right?
like only if it's like Oscar bait. They'll put it in for like 2 fucking weeks. In
Extraction 2 was in cinemas.
It was?
No, it wasn't.
No,
Yeah.
that was Netflix. I thought
they released it in cinemas.
Oh,
Really?
We didn't get it in cinemas here.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me.
Yeah,
let me
I
look it
don't
up real
remember.
quick.
Was that really?
I would have loved if that got a cinema release over here.
Yeah, it didn't
Yeah.
here, man. I don't think so anyway.
No, let me check.
I know Apple's done that. What was that Christmas movie with Ryan Reynolds and
Spirited.
Will Ferrell? Yeah, Spirited. That was in
Glass
theaters for, like,
Onion
a
got
week.
a limited theatrical release as well.
Yeah, that's what they do. They give them limited theatrical releases. That's it. I think for like a week. That's it.
Yeah, so Killers of the Flower Moon, the DiCaprio Scorsese movie, is going to be in theaters for like a month, and then it goes right to Apple. Yep.
Well,
So
I will
I'm
see
watching
it
that in theaters. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm excited for that movie.
I hope that they play it over here, man, in English.
It's a very American-centric movie that I don't know if they would.
Just fly over for a weekend. We'll be fine.
For sure, man. Because all of hearing movies in French dub is like the worst fucking thing ever.
Ew.
I remember the first movie I ever turned on subtitles in another language. It was French, and it was The Matrix Reloaded. And I just I'll always remember her going, Monsieur Anderson. I just thought that was amazing.
The worst I've seen is an English dub of the show Dark on Netflix.
Oh, man, yep. It's horrible.
The kid is like, Mom, I need more milk. It's so bad. It's terrible.
English dub is just horrible. It's been bad since like the mid 2000s, I would say.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't see why people like dubs. It's like, why don't you want to see the performance, the emotions of the
Well,
real?
they say that
Yeah.
they
I don't
know what
they
they're
say that they
saying,
can't
bro.
follow. Yeah, like I can't read and watch the movie at the same time. It's like,
If
oh,
you're
come on,
I think
dyslexic,
man.
people who say that
understand.
just can't read. That's
They
the
can't
only-
read fast
It's nothing
enough.
to do with reading and watching at the same time. I watch dubs for the comedy value. That's pretty much it. Like,
Yeah.
if I want to meme on a show, or if I want to be vaguely entertained by how bad the job they're doing is, I'll switch the dub on. It's great fun. Awful voice actors. Like, I watch loads of old Gundam shows. The dubs for those are fantastic, and by
Yep.
fantastic I mean they're really shit, but they're
The
very
dubs
good
on
fun.
my Godzilla movies are incredible. They are like I probably own 12 or 15
Oh, somebody-
Godzilla movies, and they're all English dubs. They're amazing.
Some-
They make them better.
Somebody in chat mentioned Tetris, and I did
Hmm.
on my channel. I have a review of Tetris and Blackberry, and I kind of frame it in the context of like modern like Hollywood biopics and how those two are very like unique and interesting. Highly recommend Tetris and Blackberry.
Tetris was phenomenal. That's one of
Tetris
the
was
best
very
movies
good.
of this year so far.
Yeah, and Blackberry was
Really?
great, dude. Jay Baruchel, the guy from Tropic Thunder. He is amazing as the BlackBerry CEO. I was shocked. People don't realize he's a good actor. That guy. He's a funny guy, but he's serious in that movie. But what else is he in? Tropic Thunder. Fuck, I don't even know. Jay Baruchel. Am I dead?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
No, you're not dead.
fine.
We're all just like,
You're dead.
Oh, it's yeah. I don't know. I just like BlackBerry. It's good. Underrated.
Jay
Evil Dead
Bagley
Rises.
says he's in Goon.
Goon.
Who's
I
he
thought
in
Evil Dead-
Goon?
I don't know. It's weird. I thought Evil Dead Rises was decent.
I did too. I like
Knock at-
that.
I thought Knock at the Cabin
Oh,
was good.
Now I know who the fuck
Um,
you're talking. Jay Baruchel, man.
Jay-
Jay Baruchel. That's how you
Oh,
pronounce it.
the
Sorry.
skinny dude, the tall skinny dude. There we go.
Yeah, the skinny dude, man. The
Yeah,
dude that's
um,
that played Hiccup
people-
in How to Train Your Dragon.
Hiccup. Yeah,
There
people
you
don't
go.
know that he's a solid actor. He's never done this before, and he did a good job.
Mm.
But no, I like this year is. I'm having fun with all the movies I've seen this year. I thought Knock at the Cabin was good. I like The Covenant. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant was really
That
good.
was a beautiful film.
was really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, John Wick 4 was fantastic.
Mhm.
It was
Uh,
fine.
yeah,
Don't talk about that. He likes Indiana Jones though, so we can just ignore
True.
Oh,
he likes
fuck
Temple
off.
of Doom. Imagine.
it. Yeah.
Imagine.
Oh God.
Any final words
Yeah.
on Barbie before we move on to Oppenheimer?
10 out of 10.
Nah. Don't
I
waste your
hate this
money,
movie
man.
as a woman. As the target audience, I hate this movie.
No, I'm sorry. Not a 10 out of
Dislike
10.
the
It's a
movie.
10 out
I
of
also
10.
hope that, because whenever we're talking about the lessons Hollywood might learn, I very much hope they do not learn from the marketing department.
Yep.
It's like successful,
they probably
definitely
will,
very
though, 'cause-
successful, but
Yeah, real smart.
incredibly dishonest. I don't think it will be good if that catches on.
Mhm.
Well, all right. Who has seen Oppenheimer?
Me.
Vex
Can't
has
raise
not.
my hand. Can I raise my
Has-
hand?
Vex has not.
Yeah, my
You
so I got
can't yet.
sick, and then my theaters are fully booked out. So
Oh,
the next
man.
available showing I was able to get a seat for is July 31st.
Just
What the
pirate
fuck?
it.
It's a week.
No,
from-
I'm-
no,
I'm-
do not pirate this.
I
I'm
was
No,
only
no,
gonna
no,
do
no,
that.
no,
no. I'm
The
kidding, I'm
70
kidding, I'm
millimeter, it
kidding.
was meant to be seen in. So I have my ticket ready. July 31st, 10 a.m. I'll be in the theater.
Man, that's how packed your cinema is. Like, Jesus.
There's only one IMAX theater that's playing it in 70 millimeter near me, and that's still an hour drive. There's another IMAX theater playing it, but it's just like I want to see it in the 70 millimeter. If I'm gonna spend
Yeah.
3 hours in a cinema, I'm
it.
gonna see it as it was meant to be seen.
Do it.
Mm.
Great.
And Platoon, did you see Oppenheimer yet?
I have not had time. I had
God
precisely
damn.
2.5
No way.
hours before I
Imagine.
went away for the weekend, and so only one of
Damn.
those two films could fit into that gap. And it wasn't Oppenheimer, so I'll be going. I think I'm going tomorrow to see Oppenheimer.
Are you okay if we talk about it?
Oh, please do. I know the story. I know how it
Sorry,
ends.
Yeah, I know. but
Spoilers, they win. The bomb goes off. Yeah.
that was the thing I gave Vex when we were on Lofty stream. I'm like, well, you probably know the
Can't
fucking
really.
story, so
It's like,
there's no
yeah.
spoilers really.
Look, 80 years late for spoiler warnings.
Yeah.
So-
I didn't know some of the things in the movie though. Nolan dives deep into the deep end with World War II, with that era of history that you might not, you'll learn something in this movie for sure. Like I didn't know about his wife or any of that stuff.
Yeah, I didn't.
Do you
either.
wanna
I
go
watched a little bit of
clockwise again, or no?
documentary. Yeah, we'll go clockwise, which really just means we'll start with you.
Oh, okay.
You and I'll BRB because I'm gonna grab a coffee real quick, and I already know what you think because I was on the stream yesterday. I'll be right back.
So I thought it was really good. I am probably gonna go see it again. Just because the first viewing I didn't go to see it in IMAX. But I will for my second showing. It was really good. All the performances were just brilliant. I can't name one off the top of my head that was bad or like subpar. Like every performance was really good. Even from people that I wasn't expecting to be good. I thought RDJ was I was worried about him in the movie, but he just ended up being really good in the movie as well. Cillian Murphy was spectacular as Oppenheimer. I think the score for the movie especially was really good for me. I really liked it. And then if I were to say something bad about the movie, I guess I didn't like the editing, and the first act felt a little wobbly in terms of the pacing and the
Pacing.
editing,
Yeah.
the editing of the pacing and stuff like that. But once Matt Damon shows up, that's when the pacing and stuff pretty much straighten itself out, and it ends up being really good.
Boobs, dude.
Those
they
are real
censored
great.
her. Yeah, they
Man,
censored
they-
them in India.
Yeah, they made her wear a black dress. They CGI'd on a black dress for the Middle East and India.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did. I said
They
that's
are
a
missing
movie
out
cynic.
'cause they're
They
great.
are. That's
mean,
crazy.
I
What
don't know,
has
man.
Nolan said anything about that yet?
It's like
He's probably like, I got to see him for like 2 days straight. I'm good.
Yeah, he's
More
like-
importantly, is that the kind of feminism that Barbie would approve of or disapprove of? Like,
Well, it's
should
so
women get
20
their
minutes
tits out or should
20
they
minutes
not?
of just white straight men, and then the first woman that we see is like 20 seconds later having a sex
Yeah.
scene with them.
I
Based.
would have liked this movie way
Based,
better if
true.
they had gender and race swapped Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
True.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, I
Made
unironically
appropriate.
saw people complaining about that on Twitter, and I was
a
just like,
black
wow.
Asian Oppenheimer. That would
Yeah,
True.
in a wheelchair too. Like
True.
Yeah, these virtue signaling people on Twitter, they only care about the signal, and they don't care about in their private lives. They don't go out of their way to watch any alternate perspectives. Like there's plenty of Japanese films about Hiroshima you can go watch. Like you can just watch. There's
Yeah.
dozens of them, but they don't do that. They would rather they just get on Twitter and they say this movie too many white people, don't go see it. And then they get off Twitter and then they go masturbate or whatever the fuck they do. And that's all they don't live their lives the way they are on Twitter. They're hypocrites.
No, that's a straight up virtue
Lizzoheimer,
signal.
Yeah.
stop, Chad.
Lizzoheimer.
Stop.
Lizzo was the bomb. You know, they had to make it practically, so they just told her to jump in a mini pool, and that was
And then
it.
they
And
did
they
color
filmed it.
correction.
Yeah.
They did color
They
correction.
filmed it
and
from
just made
12 miles
orange.
away. Uninspired, what did you think of the movie?
Yeah, I loved Oppenheimer. It's actually probably my favorite cinema experience of the year. I'm going to go watch it again if I have the chance to. I hope I do. And yeah, I think that it was a really, really good film. It was intense. I can understand when people say that it was a bit pretentious, but not to the extent that you would think coming from a Nolan movie, because of, you know, you have stuff like Tenet and etc.
Yeah.
But
he was
it's
quite
just
restrained.
yeah, he was restrained, but it was just, you know, some pieces of dialogue that were a bit too heavy on the theme specifically. So you were like, okay, they're talking because we need to show the audience this, you know, but it doesn't distract you from the overall experience because it's basically 1 or 2 lines of dialogue in the entire movie. The acting, the performances are absolutely incredible. It was a pleasure seeing Josh Hartnett there because I fucking love that guy. And seeing him in a Nolan movie, great. The score is something that I really loved, except for the fact that it was used a bit too much. I would say that the scenes would have had a bit more weight if the score wasn't present basically all the fucking time.
Yeah.
So I think that some of the more dramatic scenes would have had a lot more weight to them. The bomb itself during the Trinity test was I said this before, I think that it was quite underwhelming, even though the bomb isn't the primary focus of that scene. It's the characters and what the characters are going through, knowing that this is their creation, this is what they've done. They have essentially changed the world. But Christopher Nolan shouldn't forget that it is cinema. It's a visual medium, and you just and considering that it was hyped so much, the bomb itself, I wouldn't. That was underwhelming for me. But overall, I recommend Oppenheimer. I think that it's a great film. It's a pleasure to see a film like this in the cinema, which you very rarely see nowadays.
That's true.
Very good. Yeah.
I think this and Dune are big cinema movies this year.
I haven't seen the first Dune.
I haven't.
Bro, I'm
either.
still right there
Oh.
with you. I
Oh,
haven't.
whoa.
either.
Yeah,
say.
see it.
Why are all you
I
people
will.
here?
I will.
Cynic
You
put
haven't
it on
don't
seen
your-
like
like
Timothy
70% of
Chalamet,
movies
that's
we
the
talk
problem.
about, Platoon.
I've seen almost all the movies we talk about. Name one
You haven't
that's
even
not
seen the one we're
Oppenheimer.
talking about right now.
I was away all weekend.
That's not an
That's one.
excuse.
You have a job.
Die.
I'm going tomorrow.
How dare you?
You've got to do
stream's
better.
today.
You have to
Do
do better,
better, Senator.
Platoon.
Oh, there he goes.
There you
Oh.
go.
Bye. Get
I didn't
Nagasaki,
even kick him.
bitch.
Jesus,
I
this
was
is an
just-
incredibly well-run stream. Both the hosts have disconnected. It's fantastic.
I was just gonna tell him to put
I thought you kicked it.
Dune on his list after Incredibles, or not Incredibles, but Invincible,
Invincible.
and Arcane.
That's
Yeah,
Um,
Arcane is still on the list. That's true.
Lofty,
Yeah.
what did you think of that?
I liked it a lot. I think it's his most mature movie. It's his most contemplative movie. A little in certain scenes. It's hard because the whole movie is very rapid fire. It's like super aggressive. It just goes. The forward momentum is nonstop, and it's also not just that. It's backwards and forwards momentum, and it's back in time. I mean, and forward in time, and it's like it's hard to follow, and it's hard to kind of sit with the movie and just kind of maybe meditate on what it's trying to say until like towards the end of it. But there are scenes that break up all this stuff that are very poetic and like emotional. There's at least like 3 or 4 scenes, and they all involve this beautiful musical score. And a lot of them are not what you would expect. Like the nuke dropping is beautiful, but there's a scene in the beginning of the movie where he's imagining things that's incredible. Might even be better than the nuke scene. For the Nolan
when he's-
cinematography.
When he's like,
Yeah.
like seeing the quantum realm,
Oh my
or
god.
like the
And
actual quantum
I
realm.
looked over at the person next to me. I was just like, "What the like?" After that scene was over,
Yeah,
and
and
the
You
it's,
saw
music-
Jonathan Majors down there, didn't he?
the music, the music was so good.
I'm harassing
But-
women down here.
But it doesn't.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
This movie is very tight, and it moves. It has smooth editing, and it doesn't have a lot of. I think Interstellar and Inception and some of his other films have like sort of like ups and downs in terms of like stuff that I give a shit about, especially The Dark Knight Rises, and like Interstellar has great scenes, but there's a lot of kind of stuff that on rewatch I'm just not as interested in. Same with Inception and The Dark Knight. I'm just like, I get to the Joker, please. But this movie,
Yeah.
this movie is like
Hate that.
every scene is like Joker dialogue, not Joker dialogue in theme, but every scene. It's his best script, I think, is what I'm trying
You
to
want
say.
to know
Yep.
how I
And he wrote it by
Bomb.
himself too, which is fascinating. Like he
And he
actually
did
did
write
this
it.
one.
He didn't have Jonathan Nolan chime in
Yeah.
with his dumbass.
right.
Kicked out his brother.
Yep.
I just think it's his most mature movie. I loved it. Very long, hard to sort of follow, but way easier to follow than Tenet.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Almost
is insane
everything
to
is
me.
easier to follow than Tenet. But
Yeah.
It is
it's the
insane
second
to
one of
me
the films. I
how-
think both of the recent Nolan films, which are by far the most coherent
Yeah.
story-wise, are the ones where he has to do minimal story writing himself.
Yeah.
There's this one and Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
Both of those are
Dunkirk.
well established. In Dunkirk's case, it's a film that's been made before as well.
Yeah.
And so limiting his ability to go completely off the wall with his grand ideas is probably
Yes.
a good thing.
Definitely. Yeah. Although the I will if you go back in time far enough, The Prestige has a very tight, very fantastic screenplay, I think.
Underrated movie, man.
Yeah. And I love Batman Begins. I think it's my favorite Batman movie. But yeah, this is probably my favorite Nolan movie, even. I would say. I think it's up there with The Prestige and Batman Begins for me. That's my top 3.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's actually good. I have 3 Nolan movies yet to see, so I couldn't compare it to his entire filmography
Yeah,
yet.
I definitely think this is in like I think this
Yeah.
does contest to be like his probably best film.
It's up there.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is definitely up there. And yeah, a lot of the things that I don't like that Nolan does aren't really here. Non-linear storytelling is here and it's annoying, but I think it is not as indulgent as he could have been.
It serves a proper
Um,
purpose here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually serves a
And it is
purpose,
distinctive.
yes.
Like the black and white helps distinct what's going on. And when
Yeah.
things are taking place, not only story wise, but also thematically.
And it's long enough where it's not so like it doesn't cut shit out. Like, yes, it goes all over the place, but every scene gives you plenty of time to like, get to know the characters, know what they're talking about, and then it resets to the next scene. And then that scene's sort of long, and then the whole movie, the length of it, I think helped. If anything, it should have been longer. But
Mhm.
because it was so fast and the pacing was rushed.
Yeah, especially in the beginning.
Yeah,
But-
well, that's like it's a Nolanism in general, I think, to have the pacing issues.
Yeah.
And then I was relating it to just biopics in general. If you're going to, talk about someone's life,
Yeah.
pacing issues kind of seem to be,
it's there by
it's
default.
all, yeah. And so you have both of those combined. So I thought the first 30 minutes were it's so goddamn rapid fire. But then once Matt Damon's character shows up, it really gets on this crescendo up to the point of the Trinity test and the
Yeah.
actual bomb. And that's when the movie really takes off. And all of
Yeah.
the choppiness from the beginning, it's totally fine because it informs how you're feeling during the crescendo. The third act feels separate and it's almost like a spy thriller type of deal. So I've been saying the same thing as you, Lofty, that it's definitely like his most mature work. I think it's
Yeah.
one of his best movies. And everyone knows the story, even if you have a small semblance of idea of history, like the story of the
Yeah.
bomb and everything like that. So like how you probably already feel emotionally about that story. So it's up to him to capture that for you as an audience member, create a narrative out of it, and make you actually feel those emotions. And he got me. Like when the bomb went off, it was really emotional for me because he really captures all the moments of how Oppenheimer's feeling, the success everyone's feeling, and the relief they're feeling, but all at the same time too, the dread of like, oh, this just fundamentally changed the world for everybody. What we're doing
Yeah.
here, you really capture that.
It's the speech after, when they've got
Yes.
that one is really
Man.
good. You just
Oof.
have the noise around Oppenheimer, and it's just
The sound design
great.
for that scene was spectacular. It was
Honestly,
really good.
that's it's too soon, but it might be my favorite Nolan scene, maybe of all time. Like that's how good it is, guys. It's so wild.
Yeah.
The way he edits that with the crowd, the silence, the
bright light,
loud noises, the bright lights, the dead bodies, it's such a weird editing masterpiece. Like I can't even describe it.
Yeah, I think my favorite scene in the movie was showing the different perspectives of the soldiers, and then you have the scientists. Comes on the radio, the bomb just hits, and you see there's like a time for contemplation, and then you see the reaction of the soldiers first, and they're like, yes, we won, like they're gonna surrender after this. And then you just get this hallway shot of all the scientists just looking at each other, and it's dead silence. And then Jack Quaid did really well in this movie too. And his performance in that scene was really good because they're just like contemplating, oh man, what have we done? So
the performances
that was
are
really
really good. And I was saying this yesterday on Andrew's stream with the Cynic. I was saying that you have a lot of actors in this movie where you recognize their faces. Once they come on screen, you know who they are, and you're like, oh man, this person is in this movie. Except that in here, Nolan doesn't really give you that sense of, oh man, this dude is in this movie, because you're so invested into the story that when you see that actor appear on screen, you're just like, okay, tell me about your character. How are you gonna be involved in this plot? It's just so interesting, and it's refreshing to see something like that.
Yep. Downey Jr. was great. Yeah. Oh, have Henry Cavill. I gotta wait for Warhammer for that one.
Oh,
Oh, I'm just like, I
Yeah,
don't know what's going on here. I just want something to look at.
I
I
always
smell
do themes for my my VTuber has themes.
I smell
Yeah.
3 Academy Award nominations coming up for this film.
Best Picture?
For acting performances in general, but yeah, Best Picture is kind of
For
in the bag
sure.
for a nomination, at least,
100%.
especially with up to 10 nominations. Yeah, it's going to get nominated.
Mm.
And probably a Best Director nomination. But no, Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr., which is going to be a hilarious thing if it's Robert Downey Jr. versus Ryan Gosling. For
It
fucking
will be. Please
It'll
have
be
that
crazy.
happen.
It'll be Barbenheimer 2.0.
It will.
No, you know what?
February
You know what
next year.
2.0 it's going to be? It's going to be Heath Ledger Downey Jr. 2.0. Remember 2008?
Oh yeah.
Joker and Tropic
And
Thunder,
Tropic Thunder.
Downey Jr.
Mm.
Man.
And
Yeah.
those two
Do you really
are
think that sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, finished.
Well, no. I was just going to say
I was
they're
gonna say,
like
do you-
polar. Yeah.
Do you really think that Ryan Gosling will be nominated for anything?
There's a
be-
lot of
he'll be
buzz,
nominated.
and when there's buzz, it normally happens because
Yeah.
it's all political.
Yeah, no
Okay.
one gives a shit about
Oh,
the
Barbie's-
Oscars
yeah,
giving
Barbie's
like
gonna-
actual worth nowadays. It's basically just, oh, if you've had the most buzz, then you'll probably
Yeah.
get nominated.
It really is.
Gotcha.
The only time where
It's-
apparently it went
yeah.
to who it was supposed to in recent memory, and people got upset because it's just a political thing, was when Chadwick Boseman passed away,
Yeah.
and everyone wanted him to win because it was his only thing. But Anthony Hopkins gave the best performance that year and actually won.
Oh,
Yeah.
What
yeah.
year? What movie was it for?
It was for The Father, where he plays an Alzheimer's.
Masterpiece.
And
Great
what was
movie.
Chadwick Boseman's role? Was
What is it called? Marini's Black Bottom.
Rainey's Black Bottom, yeah.
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 never heard of it. Okay.
Well, aren't you black? Like you should have watched it.
No,
right? It's
I'm
like
South
for you.
Asian,
right?
dude.
Daniel Kaluuya is, I think, better than Chadwick Boseman. That's just my opinion.
Oh, for sure. I agree, 100%.
Have you seen the Judas and the Black Messiah? Holy shit,
Mhm.
that's a good movie. Very
Yep.
good movie.
He's
He's
great
good
in
at yeah, and Lakeith Stanfield's really good in that.
Yeah, like
Um,
Stanfield is also a good actor.
Yeah, he was terrible in Death Note, but forget that. Forget about that one. That's bad casting. No, this movie, I don't know, Vex. I think it's just, you're right. I think it's like the hype hill will put him in there, but there's other people that deserve it
Yeah.
over. Like,
But realistically, what's the competition with Oppenheimer for Best Picture this year, for example?
Probably Flowers of the.
Killers of
Across
the
the
Dune
Flower.
Spider-Verse.
2.
There we go.
Flowers of the
Um,
Killer Moon.
No, animation
Yeah,
won't win Best Picture.
Killers of the Flower Moon for sure. Napoleon maybe. Probably Zone of Interest, which is this movie that coming out, Jonathan Glazer movie. There's a lot of like, okay, November. I don't even know, because November is when
Yeah,
all
the Oscar bait
shit comes
movies.
out.
Exactly.
And
That's
nobody's
saved
talking about
for.
them yet. So
And
Yeah.
Dune 1 got nominated, so that'll take up a slot. The sequel surely will take up a slot.
Dune is going to get nominated for Best
Dune.
Picture.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dude, what if Barbie gets a Best Picture nomination?
It probably will.
I can see a
Amen,
direction
brother.
nomination, maybe
Mm.
at the very.
I'm sure it'll
best.
get it. It'll win Best Costume, costume design.
Yeah.
Maybe
100%.
maybe production design.
I don't know. Dune might win. Dune might be nominated for
Yeah.
that too.
Dune's going to
Dune,
sweep.
yeah,
hope.
Dune's gonna get like a bunch of noms. So
Yeah. There's always like Everything Everywhere, Parasite. Like there's always something that comes out of nowhere that's like,
Yeah.
you know, we don't know about it yet or something.
I thought the lighting in Oppenheimer was really well done.
Mhm.
Especially going from the
Yes. Fantastic.
normally lit scenes to the black and white. Like the black and white scenes are really well lit.
Yep.
That was the one thing that like I was like, they might do really poorly at this once I figured out that they were doing black and white, but they were really
Yeah.
lit incredibly. It was really good.
Fucking
I
lit,
agree.
dude.
It was lit, bro.
I
It
think
was lit, dude.
I think Hoyt Van Hoytema is the cinematographer. He did Interstellar. He did Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, yeah.
He did Nope with Jordan Peele. It was fantastic cinematography.
Yep.
And then but also it reminded me of a movie that is a Roger Deakins film, Assassination of Jesse James. Some
James
of
by
the
the cow. Yeah, I
Yeah.
knew you were gonna say that.
some of the like the horse ranch scenes in this movie are like feel like a western. It was like Nolan channeling Jesse James or something. Like I liked a lot of that stuff.
Mm.
What did you think?
No, I actually liked it. I feel exactly what you're saying, because once you said it, it
Yeah.
reminded you of Roger Deakins. That was the first movie
Yeah.
that popped up in my head, and
Right.
yeah, I'm 100% in agreement with you with those Western scenes on the
Yeah.
horse and everything. And it's something that they didn't really need to include, having the characters on horses, especially at
Right.
that time of day, being filmed in that way. It's not something that was incredibly necessary to the story. They could have just been walking around somewhere. But nah, I just feel like Nolan wanted to do a Western reel, you know?
Absolutely. And by the way, the best horse scene of the year goes to Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. He straight up is laying sideways. A horse like is sleeping, and the horse just gets up and he like I can't describe it. He like falls
Yeah,
upwards on the horse.
in the intro scene in the desert.
Yeah.
Dude, I've
For-
never seen anyone do a stunt like that.
It
was
doesn't
really
go to
cool.
Harrison Ford in Dial of Destiny.
No.
He outruns a train, dude. How could he
Yeah,
not win
that horse is super fast.
I actually fucking forgot the Dial of Destiny
And then,
came out.
bro,
this
and then
year.
once he's done with the horse, he says, "Hey, Mister, take my horse." And then,
John Wick has
I
some good
love
horse
that. I
scenes.
love that line.
Yeah, John Wick has a cool
Yeah.
opening with
The whole
horses, too.
opening scene is a
Yeah.
nice horse chase. Yeah.
John Wick 3, the horses
3
were
has
better.
Oh yeah, I agree. Well, yeah,
True
there was-
Lies has the best horse scene, actually.
There you go. There
No,
you
The
go.
Last Samurai. If we're talking all time, probably has my favorite horse. The charge at the end of that movie, The Last Samurai, is fucking insane. That there's so many horses. I'm surprised nobody died. I just love that movie so much.
Isn't
The
there
Kens-
where
the
Daniel
Kens ride
Radcliffe fucks
toy
a horse. I
horses.
think that's one. That'll be my nomination.
Equus.
Jesus Christ.
Equus. But no, yeah. I don't know. I don't know why we're talking about horses. Oh, because of Ken. Ken likes horses. So we're
Yes.
Ken. Yeah.
Ken is
We're
me,
channeling
we are
Kenergy,
Ken.
guys.
We got
Mad
Kenergy.
energy.
We are
You're-
no.
We are Knuff.
Anyway,
Yeah.
back to Oppenheimer.
But yeah,
How does Oppenheimer
uh,
treat the question of the morality of the bomb drop? Is it
Fuck. It's hard.
nuanced? Is it firmly bomb was bad, America bad,
I'd
or
say
is
it's
it?
pretty nuanced.
I would say it's nuanced for
it's
sure.
I
very
said earlier,
nuanced.
it gives you both perspectives of the soldiers and the scientists when they find out that the bomb went off. You have the soldiers celebrating because this is when they're going to surrender and this is when they'll win. Like, none of the soldiers have to die and they can go home. And then you have the scientists being like, "Oh God, what did we just do?" And then that carries through the movie,
especially
during
through
the third act.
Oppenheimer.
The
Yeah.
most critical the film gets of any of that is when the film is kind of trying to make you skeptical of anyone in the government, basically, because there's a scene with Truman and there's a scene with another general who talks about. He basically says, we got to pick 2 cities to send a message and then another one to send an even bigger message. And then he goes, we're not picking Kyoto because my
Kyoto.
wife likes to go there on vacation.
Oh yeah, that
That
scene
was
like,
really fucked up.
yeah,
It's
that
fucked up,
scene was
but-
man. That
But it's powerful because
yeah.
look,
Yep.
that's reality. I mean, that it's important for us to reflect on the fact
And
that
he prefaces that by saying that Kyoto is influential to the Japanese people.
It
But
is.
then he follows up by saying, "Oh, but me and my wife went there, and yeah, we had our honeymoon or something." So
Yeah,
it's a
and
nice
it's like,
place.
man, it was
Disturbing.
so that scene like was heavy because you have like
yes,
the people in governments like saying like, where do we put this bomb? And then you have the scientists who know what this is capable of and know what it's going to do to infect the world like in future. So it's like you see all of them like thinking about like, oh God, what are we doing? Yeah, I think it's pretty heavy when it comes to that, and it's not like, man, bad. It's like,
yeah,
it shows multiple perspectives of that.
Yeah, I think it really does portray reality, which is,
Yeah.
the good and bad out of all of that. I thought it did a great job. I also watched an interview with Oppenheimer that he gave like 20 years afterwards, and it definitely influenced how Killian must have played it, because I'm sure he watched a lot of footage to understand his character. And he, even in the 60s when he was giving an interview about it, he was questioned if he thought he was doing the right thing, and he said, the argument at the time, I am like, of course we had to make this bomb.
Yeah.
and despite all of what it means for humanity, and that is kind of how Killian plays it, which is still, you still have to deal with the repercussions of what it means to have this bomb now,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
that someone has it.
The movie goes very, very hard into the repercussions and what's going to maybe spiral out of control in the future, because at that time they had no idea. And Oppenheimer's personal torture of
Mhm.
knowing that he may have ended civilization,
Mhm.
not now, but maybe 20 years from now or whatever. And it goes really hard into that for sure at the end of the movie.
And also gives you that sort of greedy aspect from the government, because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we need to drop the bomb on the Germans. We have to have it before the Germans. Then when it's not the Germans, it's like, oh, it's the
Russia.
Soviets.
It's the
Then it's
Soviets.
like, oh, no, it's not the Soviets. Well, oh, it's the Japanese. So we still need the bombers. And then you have Oppenheimer continuously questioning them. It's like, do we really need it when we know that our enemy is already, defeated? Because
Yeah.
they specifically say Japanese they're gonna lose the war anyways. But they still need that.
yes.
That's what they
That's
say.
a thorny one. So like the Americans, before the bomb was officially finalized to be used, they were preparing to invade, I think it was Kyushu. But the Japanese had something like 3 times the reservists that the Americans thought, and eventually there was no way that the invasion would have worked without suffering. Because Iwo Jima, I think the American casualty rate was somewhere between like 30 and 60%. It's like a huge amount of casualties.
Yep.
And this was
even if,
even more well defended than that.
Yeah.
The Japanese also had that irrepressible like suicide campaign. Most of the people who were actually called into Iwo Jima voluntarily starved to death. They sacrificed their own civilians to keep food. These people were prepared to die for this.
Well, they were
and the
even
invasion
preparing
force was going to be opposed. So combine that with the fact that you have firebombing campaigns against Tokyo, which actually killed, I think, more people, slightly more people than the 2 nuclear bombs did. So you've got the impossibility of invasion combined with mass casualty campaigns as effectively the norm at this point of the war. And then you've got the quick resolution at the cost of 250,000 deaths, which is no light matter. But the argument being that actually, of all the bad options available, it was better that than any other alternative.
Sure.
And then also there's the other one, which is that you can read it as effectively the first act of the Cold War. Because as soon as the Soviets understand what the Americans have, of course, they're working on it themselves. They kidnap Nazi scientists.
Oh yeah,
too.
that's very much part of the story. Too.
Yeah, but as soon as you've done that, then you're signaling we have it. We've got it before you.
Yeah.
And anyway, even if you do have it, the cost of retaliation is far too high to bear. So you can argue that in kicking off sort of the mutually assured destruction philosophy with an act of grave destruction, you have solved a number of potential calamitous wars in the future.
They go into that in the movie quite a bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And wasn't there a scene where the scientists were like, "Hey, we shouldn't launch this," and like they were trying to like rally, and then Oppenheimer came into the room and he was like, I can't remember what exactly he said, but he pretty much said, "No, we can't," or something like that. I don't remember what he said, but they do address that point of view of like, we should not drop this bomb. And then Oppenheimer comes in and says, "Well, no, something Oppenheimer said." I forget. I need to rewatch this movie.
I appreciated how serious the movie took the subject matter, and what gets kind of gross for me is when people start playing like the game of revenge, where it's like Pearl Harbor happened, haha, fuck those kids.
Yeah.
And then that's like, like I don't know.
I'm kidding.
It's based in like a casual conversation, like joking, memeing way on Twitter. But like when people start to actually have those you like, I don't know. I mean, I've seen excellent. There's a film called Children of Hiroshima, which is about the bombing.
Yep.
And it's from the Japanese perspective. Kanito Shindo is the director. It's a fantastic movie. Made in the 50s, so it's like relatively soon after. And it's just very sad. Like, if you don't have any empathy at all for any of those dead 2000 Japanese people, like, that's just, to me, that's going to a little bit too far. But
GG.
GG. Barefoot Gen. Yeah, Barefoot Gen is a good one too. The chat keeps mentioning that one. Barefoot Gen is like Grave of the Fireflies, but somehow more fucked up. I don't know how to describe it.
Jesus.
But
I thought the movie was brilliant in being able, like, you fucking know the story, you know everything, like everyone's still alive, but he still somehow gives you a little bit of anxiety if this bomb is going to go off and end up destroying the world. which is
100%.
crazy that he's able to do that and still build anxiety and tension with that.
Especially during the Trinity sequence. Those 15 minutes are like, oh man.
Yeah, you know it's going to be successful, but he's such a goddamn good filmmaker. He still gives you you're still stressed over it.
Yeah, and then like the music was crescendoing, and then when we see the bomb go off, it's like pure silence, and the only thing we hear is Oppenheimer's breathing.
Yeah,
I saw a great
good.
video of someone ripping a fart in the theater when that happened, and everyone just laughed.
That's funny.
Right as the bomb went off.
I would have been absolutely pissed, but it's funny that
But
it happens
I like-
somehow.
100% there's gonna be edits of that out after this, like the pirated version.
I hope. Where it's like Lizzo bending over, like she drops her phone, she bends over, and then and then it cuts to the
It's
bomb.
Oppenheimer looking through his goggles, and he just sees Lizzo. Oh man.
No, I like how
Oh, damn.
the editing. I like how this movie portrayed the bomb. I know some people were saying it's underwhelming. To me, some dumbass on Twitter said, "Crystal, the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was a better nuclear."
Oh my
I'm
god!
like, holy shit.
Don't
Anyway, but the point is, this movie doesn't do the typical, wide shot of the thing exploding that we've seen a million times. It's so evocative and poetic, and it's very much like a Terrence Malick or like a Tarkovsky movie when it hits those moments. Like, it's super surrealist, and like he's looking into the flames, and there's like these weird sparks going, like you don't even know what the hell's happening.
Well, it actually looks like the original Trinity bomb blowing up, but zoomed in. So
Sure.
so you don't
My
really see
problem-
the big explosion.
My problem was the sound design afterward, like the actual sound of the explosion.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't big enough. It was just kind of like, it
My
kind of
theater
was like,
loud.
Boof.
I jumped. I jumped. I was like, fuck. maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, because
the cinema I go to has terrible sound systems, so
Sorry,
I'm going to a better one. So
I don't know. My cinema had like the Dolby and all of that, so like the sound was actually underwhelming. So I don't think it's a cinema issue, Andrew. I think that, like, for me too, it was the same. I mean, especially if you're not gonna show how big the mushroom cloud is, to exaggerate it, how big it is on screen, then at least show it through the audio, so that we know. Well, we already know the devastation in real life, how big it is, but so that you can really feel it even more into the characters and how they're reacting.
I needed it to be like a sound that, not a sound that I've never heard before, but like a sound that these people in particular have never heard.
Right.
Before.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it didn't really
Hard
pull
to
that
do.
off for me. It is incredibly hard to do. But I just don't think it delivered much on that. But the visuals I thought were pretty okay for that scene.
Yeah, but I think what made up for it was the minute and a half before that, when there was a countdown, and it was fucking
100%.
suspenseful. That like
they got 5 minutes, and they're just like, or 20 minutes, and it's just like, oh,
yeah,
everyone get out.
Especially when he's talking about it, he's like, "Oh, if you see the voltage dip by one, you stop everything." And so you're still fucking stressed out. It's gonna work, but you're just there like, "Oh my fucking god!" And you just see like their hands shaking and everything on the button. And everyone is lying down.
And then
the
again, like the score, like using like the sirens like mixed in it with the violins. Oh. It was pretty good. I really like that. The score is definitely a big takeaway for me in this movie. I really loved it.
And Nolan's practical effects. What he did with this movie is he filmed a lot of like random shit, like miniatures. Like he talked about filming like miniature explosions. He also talked about filming like mixing like certain oils and chemicals together.
Yeah,
and
that might be how he made the quantum realm. Or the imagination of the quantum realm, maybe.
I think a lot of the quantum realm was like little pebbles, or like, and then also the like actual like wire strings. Like
I think so too.
Like and the sound effects were phenomenal.
Especially when you're in Oppenheimer's head, it's really, really good. It's really well done.
And this is $100 million movie. It's epic.
Yeah.
It is 100 million.
Barbie was 145.
Oh, was it really? I thought it had the same budget.
and then Dune Part 2 is 120. So what the fuck is Disney doing with a $300 million? Why
I'm
is
really
Saudi
excited
Arabia
for- money
funding our
laundering,
movies?
man.
I'm
Yeah,
really
yeah.
excited for
Fucking
Dune
money laundering,
too,
man.
just because of like how good the first one looks.
I just think it's awkward that we have like Saudi Arabia funding like one fucking Hollywood movie, and then you can pull off 3 Dunes with one big indie budget. Like, what are we
Secret
doing?
Invasion cost $212
$212
million.
man.
Bro.
Fucking trash.
Oh my god!
It's going towards all the pizza parties that are happening behind the scenes.
Dude, I
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
opened up Hulu to watch some Master Chef.
Of
And
course.
there was Secret Invasion. They put it on Hulu. That's the dumping ground for please watch this fucking show. No one's watching.
Man,
this
that's like them
on
putting
Plus.
Miss Marvel on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
That's crazy.
I haven't even watched Obi-Wan. I'm so far behind on Disney. It's
Oh,
not
no.
even funny.
Don't watch.
Oh, just
Obi-Wan.
watch
Don't
our
bother, man.
just watch Platoon and me's breakdowns of it. It's
Yeah.
way better that way.
I know. I've seen everybody's breakdowns of it. I liked the only Disney Plus show I ever liked was Moon Knight, and I got shit for it.
I like the
But I
first
like-
episode,
I-
but
yeah.
everything after that. The first episode, and then I believe it's like the 4th or 5th when they're in the magic world with
Yes.
the asylum. But that was mostly because of the acting. I really enjoyed the character
Yeah.
acting in
I
that.
thought the kaiju
Um,
fight was cool for me personally. I thought Oscar Isaac was really good, and then yeah, it's not amazing, but I don't know. I just think it's better than any of the Marvel.
I think it's probably one of the
Star
better
Wars
ones.
shit.
I think
Yeah.
Hawkeye is better. But that's
Hawkeye
not
and
saying
Miss
much
Marvel
just
is
'cause they're
probably the
just-
best, man.
I did enjoy the first episode of Miss Marvel, but
Same.
mostly because the cinematography was refreshing. Because there was something else. What was out during that? There was something. I think She-Hulk and Miss Marvel were out at the same time. So
Hey, do you guys remember when it was cool and fun and kind of satisfying to binge the MCU from like chronological
oh,
I remember
yeah.
those days.
back in the day? But
Yeah.
now, if you like, imagine doing it now, it's like torture. It's like straight up, like
Absolutely.
every episode
Yeah.
of every show. Like, I would rather die in a firebombing.
Yeah.
Because now, if
I-
you're watching it chronologically, because of the weird way they release them, now you
Yeah.
have to kick off everything with Captain Marvel.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, that's
And
true.
I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
to do that. So
yeah.
no.
Just too
Oh.
much.
It's like, yep.
They need to reset.
This is the only series or franchise where like how bad the recent movies are retroactively make me dislike the ones I enjoyed a little bit.
sure.
Like it
Yep.
it kind of sullies the fun of going back to see Iron Man because I'm like, oh, it leads to like fucking Miss Marvel. Gross. Ugh.
Is this the segue, by the way? Just wondering.
what?
Oh,
Like,
to
what are you talking
It's the Marvels
to
trailer.
the Marvels. I mean, you
Marvels?
can't.
I,
I had a couple more things on the docket, and I don't want to leave Platoon and Vex out in the wind here.
No, no,
So-
no.
Nah,
Keep
leave
doing
'em.
your
We don't
thing.
need
Keep
'em.
doing your thing. I'm enjoying reading the
I'm
chat.
kidding.
I had 2 hours sleep over the weekend. I can just take a nap, so it's fine.
I thought you were anyway. I thought you were on mute and just fucking like here, but
Just-
not here.
His cigarette in his hand just burned his hand.
Dude,
I'm so tired I didn't even notice it.
and you need to get an animation of you just actually smoking it because it's the
Yeah,
biggest,
no,
like,
it's yeah. There's stuff in the works. Stuff
It's in the works.
Nice.
I want
well,
like an intro of yours just to be Jesus Christ.
I'll make it
that.
especially for the
Christ.
Marvels when it comes out, and the review is just a chain smoking avatar just tutting
Beautiful.
and
Every
sighing.
before you get like in between the shots of the scenes, you just take a longer and longer.
Well, any more thoughts on Oppenheimer? And we can get to the other two. We also have super chats too. So,
I have a terribly original one.
oh,
Is
oh,
the movie gonna bomb in Japan?
Ooh,
Oh my god! So original. Only heard that one
God.
15,000 times a day for a whole
Clap,
fucking
chat.
month.
Clap. He said it.
Ugh.
It just got approved it got rating approved in China, I think, recently. So when
China.
is the China? So when's the international release happening, or the extended release, I guess, happening for Oppenheimer? Because that's going to have a good impact on the box office numbers.
Mm. I don't know, I think the
Yeah, I don't
Oppenheimer. I'm still with like 407 million peak for Oppenheimer.
That's a really
exactly-
specific number.
Yep, very, very
407.
specific.
Wait, you said 407 million
Mm-hmm.
is your exact number you're saying?
Yep, for the peak.
408, Bob. That's
Oh man, but yeah, I think the Oppenheimer will make some pretty good money, but I don't know because what will it bring you back to the cinema to watch it a second time?
well, that's the
Yes.
thing. When I
Only if you're
left,
going
I
to
was saying this
another-
movie's so heavy I cannot watch
That's
this
what I
movie
said.
again anytime soon.
Mm.
I can't. Maybe. Yeah, it's hard to say.
And that's not a criticism of it. It's just
yeah, of
like,
course.
God damn,
I
man.
might
this-
just wait. I might just wait till it goes on physical release because I have a surround sound system, so I'll just blare it.
My sound system is
It's
better
like-
than the cinema.
Like
I'll just
10%.
wait.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's
I
not.
just put
it
on
can't be.
headphones.
Listen,
Support
listen,
good cinema, guys. Come on.
Yeah, support it. Not only are you supporting it, you're getting a better experience. There's no way anyone's home theater is better than IMAX. That's just stupid.
Well, my home, my close theater, my system's definitely better than. But
So is
IMAX,
mine.
no.
I have a good TV and sound system, but there's nothing like, for example, the best thing I can example of this I always talk about is Gravity. I saw Gravity in theater and it blew me away, and then I watched it again at home, and it's just not the same. It's not quite the same thing, you know.
It's
Yeah.
not at all.
Well, that's how I felt about
Yeah.
Dune in terms of
Sure.
visuals, because like there's
And
like
Avatar.
giant shots in the beginning of the
Yep.
ships, and like in the theater, I remember just being awestruck, and then I'm watching it on the TV,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yep, that's the thing.
Yeah, it just looks
That's the
pretty on
thing.
your TV. It's just the sound's great. Home theater systems sound great, but yeah, it's just the spectacle is just. And Avatar 2 there's nothing you can't even compare watching that on a home theater. Like
Oh, hang on. No, I can. It is shit in both mediums.
no, it isn't. The visual,
God.
I'm talking visually.
Right.
Visually, it's just so much better in IMAX. Like visually, the cameras, and then DVDs compress stuff, and then streaming compresses it even more.
Yep.
The quality you're getting on IMAX is just objectively the best quality you're gonna get, and so
I mean, have you guys seen
Yeah.
how big the fucking the gigabytes are for a movie? And have you guys ever been to like the projector room to see it? Especially that since everything is on, where there's like 700 gig for one movie. I was like, Jesus,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, I was so surprised.
Wow.
yeah.
Mm.
Top Gun is a great movie in theaters.
Yeah.
That's a good.
I watched a
yeah.
pirated version of that allegedly.
Uh-oh.
Allegedly.
Sailed the high seas. as it were.
Someone in Discord one day was just like, "Hey, look what I got," and he just put it on, and I'm like, "All right, we're watching this now."
And all of that happened in Minecraft, so we're not
in
front of
Minecraft,
the
guys.
cinema.
In Minecraft. In Minecraft.
That doesn't work
They-
anymore. Somebody got arrested for saying in Minecraft. They did, man. It was all.
Really?
I can't remember. Yeah, they were like, I hate my local congressman. I'm gonna in Minecraft him or something. And
I
they got
feel like
arrested.
context is important in that one.
I know.
Like, if you're supplanting the word murder brutally within Minecraft, I can
Nah,
see why that
listen.
might have flagged some alarms.
in
Probably.
Minecraft, guys, it's fun.
I don't know, but Minecraft movie
Um,
coming out. Let's
oh,
talk
yeah.
about. I'm
With
kidding.
Well, so is
Jason-
Gran
Jason
Turismo.
Momoa.
Yeah, we're
Jason
on the
Momoa.
video game
Oh
film.
man, Gran Turismo is actually coming out. Fuck, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
next
But
month.
I
Once
think
the
that
video
it could
game
work,
release.
especially with the approach that they've taken to the Gran Turismo. I think that you can actually make a really compelling story with it. It is a true story.
Yeah,
Really?
and Tetris did a good video game adaptation without doing a video game adaptation. So like,
Well, Tetris was the
Um,
origin of how it
yeah.
came to be, right? And then Gran Turismo was
Right.
just that kid that was so good at it, and then he became a real racer. So it's
Yeah.
basically just a Fast and Furious
Yeah.
movie.
Mm.
No, but it's actual.
Will they go
racing.
to space?
yeah, that Formula racing.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I hope they
Family.
do.
No, I talked about this with actually Mahler came on my stream to talk about The Last of Us, and then we were talking about video game adaptations, and I think he made the point that like if you project into the future of Hollywood, I think we're gonna start seeing way less superhero bullshit and way more quality video game adaptations. It's almost like
I
the
don't know
next
about
frontier.
quality,
Yeah,
but
quality
definitely
is
yes.
the up in the air, but you're
No,
right, and because we
Halo
had that
exists.
conversation on EFAP about it as well. But I mean, it's a
Yeah.
ready-made medium. You've got a huge number of long-established IPs
Yeah.
with very passionate fan bases.
Yep.
In some cases, with ready-made stories, and in other cases, with a complete absence of story, so you can literally just impart onto it whatever you want. And for studios which are just in for a quick buck, video games are the obvious place to go. We've
Yep.
moved beyond the days of the sort of the 90s and the early 2000s where video game adaptation was synonymous with cheese and shit. And now it's a bit of more of a mixed picture. I don't know if it's necessarily a very good thing, though. I think the Mario film
I don't
annoyed
think
me
so.
for how lazy and cheap they took that. It was so obviously going to be successful that they thought they would try as little as possible, because with effort comes risk, and they just wanted it to be as inoffensive and generally applicable as possible. I want that to not be a thing going forward. I'm happy for it to be a kickstart, but if you're going to carry on doing video game adaptations, it's not enough simply to say, hey, look, remember playing this thing on your home TV? Look, it's on a bigger screen now.
Uncharted. There you go.
Mario is fine for me doing that. Doing a cliche Mario movie is how I kind of want it. If we're talking about taking risks, Metal Gear Solid, things like BioShock are going to be more telling, I think, for Hollywood. That Mario
they're going to ruin BioShock when they adapt that.
Mario should be exactly what it was, and same thing with Sonic. Although Sonic should I think Sonic should be animated.
Wreck-It Ralph is a better Mario movie.
I think Sonic was way
Ralph
too
pops off
cliche for me. Sonic could have done more like Mario and it would have done way better, I think.
Doesn't Sonic do pretty good though? At the
no,
box
it made like
everything?
400 million or something, like 300 million.
Well, that's Sonic 2, right? Not the first one.
Yeah, like 400 million or something. I'm just saying, if Sonic was at all like on par with like the quality of Mario, it would have made way more money. Same with Detective Pikachu. If Pokemon came out with like a really high quality animated film instead of like a live action, gay, dumb, stupid Detective Pikachu movie, it would have made way more money. It just would have.
Nah, but it's Ryan Reynolds. It's perfect.
I thought didn't Detective Pikachu kill it at the box office, or am I mistaken?
At 300 million again, I think.
Have you seen a sequel for Detective Pikachu? And then they didn't kill shit, man.
Wait, there was
that's already come out?
No, I'm saying
Detective Pikachu.
Exactly. There is no sequel for Detective Pikachu. That means that it probably flopped.
No, there's one that's been in pre-production for a while. Yeah,
it's coming out. Yeah, it's gonna get there.
Oh yeah, Vex. Don't forget about
made 433.
Fuck that Borderlands movie. That thing's dead on arrival. Kevin Hart, what the fuck were they thinking?
They've also got Kate Blanchett.
Even I think that's questionable.
It's gonna be
casting
fucking
right there
trash.
as well.
It's gonna be trash, man, and it's so bad because Borderlands is a good IP, man.
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands.
I can't believe they trashed Halo. In all honesty, that literally
Fallout,
is copy and paste.
Yeah, Halo sucked. Halo sucked.
That's crazy that Halo sucked that much. If you went back in time and said, "Hey, who's gonna get a better adaptation, Halo or League of Legends?"
For real.
And Assassin's Creed, of course. Assassin's Creed that everyone sort of forgets was a thing, but very briefly was.
Hey, I like the Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender. I thought it was enjoyable.
He was a good casting choice, but it was a mess of an actual adaptation. It
really
was. We'll just take these two elements and call it Assassin's Creed.
They should have just adapted Assassin's Creed 2, man. The best game. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Ezio Auditore.
Ezio the Auditore, the best.
Was the Legends of Zelda movie confirmed, or was that still rumored?
I think it's still rumored.
It's rumored.
It's one of those rumors that is as good as confirmed. There is no way they're not doing that after the success of Mario.
I'm excited for that just to see what they do visually. If they adapt the video game style, but like just upgraded it a bit.
Yeah.
And mix in some like Puss in Boots pastel type animation. I think that would be
animation
really cool.
is killing it. Puss in Boots did really well. Across the Spider-Verse did really well. Mario, Arcane, Edge Runners, Invincible. Like, there's so many. Animation right now is very good. I'm very happy.
How did you like Edge Runners?
Pinocchio is another one, by the way. But Edge Runners, I like it a lot. It's really, really cool.
I thought it was okay. They did a time jump that annoyed me, but overall, I thought it was pretty solid.
That's fair. I even like Disney's Star Wars Visions, to be honest. I like some of that shit.
I watched the first episode of that. It was it was okay. I liked it.
I mean, it was all Jedi related, which was cool. And then the studios from Japan, they did a lot of really good animation.
Yeah, they did.
So, I don't know.
I think the video games are going to be successful. I just hope that they treat them with more respect than they used to in the early 2000s. So I think that we'll have more accurate adaptations as compared to the early 2000s, but that doesn't mean that these adaptations will be good, which is, the main issue.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to rewrite everything because already the track record is pretty fucking weak for video game adaptations, and I don't see them stopping. I think maybe the one exception we'll see in the near future is maybe the Warhammer series, but that's literally because it's being produced by a Warhammer fan.
Woo!
There is
Henry
there's
Cavill!
the question of who's in charge of all of these things as well. So Nintendo is famously very protective of its
Yeah.
IPs and
Yep.
has had quite a lot of involvement in the Mario film. And so if they have sort of the external influence on Hollywood restraining some of Hollywood's worst innate tendencies, that could lead to a slight improvement. But there will be other franchises which don't have the equivalent care and attention paid to them. And I think it could be a really mixed bag. And that might even be an optimistic estimation. Some will be good, some will be bad, as opposed to all of them being various shades of bad. I hope that isn't the case, but yeah, Nintendo, I think will probably keep a closer eye. They formed Nintendo Pictures for this exact reason,
Yeah.
and I can see those being by far the most successful. Also because they are the longest and most well established and much loved IPs. Whereas whether Sony takes the equivalent care of its IPs, I don't know.
I doubt.
I don't know.
Not a
Doubt.
good track record so far
Doubt.
with Uncharted. So
No.
Let's cast Marky Mark. Fuck it.
Tom
We don't
Holland
care.
was the weirdest one of that all.
Tom
Why would you
Holland.
put Tom Holland in there?
Yeah.
Well, we know why, but you know,
Because he's
come on.
relevant.
Yeah, he's
They
relevant.
have
He's
a
young.
working
There we
relationship
go,
with him with
adventure.
the Spider-Man
Sony,
movie.
I don't like anything Sony does. The only thing I like is Spider-Man.
Yeah, basically.
They fucked Venom so hard in the ass. Like that movie should have been rated R, both of them.
No,
Um,
and they turned him into a
and they
fucking
killed
joke.
Carnage.
Like,
They turned him into a joke, which was fine, but that was the whole movie. And then Carnage was maybe the worst villain adapted to movies. It's up there with like fucking Taskmaster. And
They feel like
wasn't
movies
even
from
really in the movie.
2006.
he's not even in the movie. It's so bad. They just
Mm.
ruined Carnage.
He had a
Carnage is supposed to
girlfriend,
be
that's
a
it.
massive movie. Like he's
Yeah,
Venom and Spider-Man's like ultimate villain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, Green
Don't
Goblin is
worry, we
Spider-Man's
have-
Joker or whatever, but
we
like
have
Carnage
Kraven.
is just insane, and they just fucking
Kraven.
obliterated him. He
No,
ate
I
Carnage's
finally-
head.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I finally watched the Craven trailer because it was in front of Barbie, and man, that is rough.
I'm
They
still
put
excited for
in front of
Craven.
Barbie.
I'm watching it for
Yeah,
Aaron
they
Taylor
put
Johnson.
Craven in front of Barbie.
Me too. Me too.
He gets his powers from blood of a lion.
Stupid.
Listen, the origin story is
Lion
stupid.
AIDS.
It's kind
Yep.
of stupid that they made him a vegan, but I'm still kind of pumped for that movie. I'll still go see it in the theaters.
I mean,
Yeah,
the
I'm
guy's
I'm
hot,
going
but
to-
that's about
yeah.
it.
Hey, like he was Bullet Train. Like he sold Bullet
He
Train
was,
to me.
yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
fuck it, man. Kick Ass is my guy.
There you go.
Exactly.
Does anyone give a shit about the Blue Beetle movie? Because it doesn't seem like anyone does.
No.
I'll
The
watch it,
estimates
no.
of $12 to $17 million opening.
That is fucking
Is that
crazy, dude.
Domestic or international?
That's got to be
Domestic,
domestic,
probably.
but even so, what does that mean for
my
international?
favorite part of the Blue Beetle like the narrative so far is the fact that I exposed him for so I was the first one, I have to say this, I was the first one to find his Trump tweet where he said that Trump should be assassinated like fucking Lincoln.
Who said that?
And I-
Shit.
Who?
I found it
director.
on Twitter. The director, he said,
Oh.
I hope Trump's presidency ends like Lincoln's.
Holy
And
shit.
I just like
He said
tongue-in-cheek, I was
he like a little goblin.
I don't know. I can't remember. But, I posted on Twitter and then he deleted it. And then I didn't even try. I don't know. I didn't know about all the other drama. I just thought that was cringe. But apparently he's kind of annoying.
Well, the
don't know.
I think it's hilarious that
That explains
like,
a lot.
the whole Batman
Yeah.
is fascist thing was like a big, little controversy, I guess, as big as it's going to be for a movie about
Sure.
Blue Beetle. But then the director tried to like quell the fire, and then the lead actor is almost like the male version of who's playing Snow White, and came out and was like, well, he fucking is, and it's totally okay to be saying that shit.
Oh
What?
no.
And I'm just like, oh my god, dude, you are just not helping
Yeah.
this movie at all. Like these Gen Z actors are just like not helping the case for their fucking movies that people already don't want to see.
Yeah, it's really disappointing because it seems to be the same thing with a lot of these other big releases. Like even Barbie was kind of like that too. Why am I hearing about all of the social politics of this movie and not the actual movie? Like every time Blue Beetle comes up in a preview, or like they have these little like fun trivia things that run at the front of all the movie theaters up here, and it'll be of upcoming releases. And the Blue Beetle one is always just about how he's Latino and it's
Yeah.
breaking race barriers and it's a huge step for representation. But I hear fucking nothing about the actual story or where the character.
Because that doesn't matter. The virtue signal matters. Like it literally is the same thing we say in all of our fucking videos at some point, which is just like it's not the story isn't what matters. It's the diversity and
message.
representation that they push out front more than anything.
Yeah, but the problem is that you've seen time and time again that marketing your movie that way doesn't work and leads
And that's
to
why
what
horrible.
I
Barbie
mean.
was smart about it.
Yeah, well, exactly. But isn't Blue Beetle Warner Bros. Too? It's the same fucking people that were
It
marketing
is, yeah.
it.
Yeah, but in Barbie, you have a 32-year-old woman doing it versus how old is the kid playing Blue Beetle? Like 21?
20, I think.
Yeah. So he's
20?
just
Oh,
running
no.
he's out there just running his fucking mouth and
No
just
fucking way.
making sure
No,
people don't
he's
see
not
this goddamn
20.
movie.
Well, this is what confuses me though, is like WB clearly saw that was an issue with Barbie and they did damage control each and every time it
Every
like just
time
barely started.
Yeah, every
So
time
why aren't they
anyone
doing the
mentioned
same?
it.
Yeah, why aren't they doing the same with Blue Beetle then? If you $12 to $17 million opening, you might as well just put it straight on streaming services.
For real.
That's
It's fucking
ridiculous. That's
embarrassing.
the estimate. So why are you not running the same damage control on the movie that's supposed to reboot the entire section of your superhero franchise?
Dude, how much did the Electra movie open to in like the
Electra?
Yeah, or Electra. Yeah, Electra.
Why'd you think of that movie randomly?
Because I think it opened more than what this one's projected to.
It was a
No
massive
Wow.
bomb, I
way.
remember. That's it.
What did Morbius make?
It opened to $39 million. Morbius. That's
I
how
was
much
one of
people
those
don't care about Blue Beetle.
Wow.
Man, I love Morbius.
And Blue Beetle is going to lose a lot of money because the reported budget is 120 million. We know that they've just gone through reshoots, so we know that budget is probably around 200. To be honest with you,
Dude.
Plus with the marketing, the way that they're doing it, it's probably 150 over. So that's like 350 million easy.
In 2005, Electra. 2005, Electra opened to almost $13 million. It was 12.8 million.
And she looked good in that
Adjust-
suit at least, so
adjust
that was a
for-
Yeah,
selling
and it was
point.
also
Inflation.
during the non-heyday of superhero movies. It was
Yeah.
2005. It's just
She's
insane.
rumored to be
Probably
coming
made
back
money.
in Deadpool, by the way. Her Electra.
Yeah, I heard. That movie scares me.
Is Ben
Does she
Affleck's
intimidate
Daredevil
you,
coming
Andrew?
back?
Yeah,
I'm just-
they said
I
that
don't
he
know what
might
they're
come
gonna
back
do.
too. I'd
That
like
would
to
be
see.
nuts.
I'd actually like to see his Daredevil come back and see how he'd play it today.
Someone said Daredevil is trash. Please tell me you're talking about the movie and not the TV show.
Definitely the movie. The TV show is actually pretty good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Dude, I'd rather see Batgirl.
But Blue
Blue
Beetle looks like
Legit.
it just looks like a Power Rangers thing.
It
doesn't-
does.
It
Looks
doesn't-
like the
it doesn't
Guyver.
have anything.
Yeah, it's so generic.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything that would make you want to go
No
and
pop.
see it. Yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, if I want to see this, well, let me just go watch the 2017 Power Rangers movie, or like that's
Hey,
or
man.
same fucking thing.
2017.
Yeah, Iron
I remember
Man.
seeing that.
Iron Man had the Iron Man trailer was way more. I thought it was more impressive than the Blue Beetle trailer the first time I saw it.
You know what it
I-
is? It's been like 15 years since we saw that, so we've been bombarded with it now.
But-
so the
Iron
taste
Man
is
has
definitely
this.
different.
Yeah, but well, that's true in my memory. But Iron Man has this this dynamic of Stark and the billionaire thing and like his psychology. Blue Beetle's just like some dysfunctional family that I've seen a million times
Family.
in other movies.
That means a
basically like-
fascist.
Family.
Yeah, Batman's a fascist. There we go. It's so weird.
I hope they
You
end
don't have
that joke
anything
with
to
just
say.
someone saying "Shut up, Grandpa."
Shut the fuck up, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Hey, but hey, you have the Flash where Batman was saying with the lasso of truth around him that he should donate his money to the poor. He should
Yeah.
do more with his money.
Oh
it's
my
like, oh,
God.
fuck off, man. Dude is a
God,
philanthropist.
Christ.
It's like, come on. So yeah, I just think that they don't give a shit. I think that this is gonna
Yeah.
it's completely dead on arrival. I don't know if Warner Bros. Is even. Have you guys seen any proper marketing for Blue Beetle recently?
No, they
No.
can't.
No.
They can't do it anymore. Well, they can market,
Yeah.
but they can't do any press
Promotions
or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also have no goodwill, so like
Mm.
it
Yeah.
ran out with the Flash with everyone saying "believe the hype," and then
Oh yeah, believe the hype. It was fucking
This
great, man.
actors strike and the writer's strike is fucking everything up.
yeah, I heard
It's,
that Dune might get pushed back.
yeah,
That would be a
because
bummer.
They are
I would actually be
considering it.
bummed.
I know, because I'm looking. That's like, yeah, and this movie this year is so good. I want it to finish off on a strong note. But if everything gets delayed,
I heard that
Wow.
A24 might be exempt of the strike.
Oh yeah, because they just like said sure to all of the demands. They were just like, yeah, whatever.
Mm.
Go cook.
oh yeah, A24.
Dude,
Yeah.
I like A24.
They've got their
Yeah,
new
they
horror
don't
movie coming
care.
out.
They're just like, yeah, give us good stuff, please.
They've got the Hand coming out. Actually, it's coming. I'm gonna go see it on Thursday. I bought my ticket.
Yeah, I got my ticket
What's
for
that?
that too.
Oh, the new A24 horror movie, man. It's been getting good
What is
reviews.
it? What is it?
Talk to her,
Talk
talk
to
to
me.
me?
Yeah,
Talk
yeah,
to me.
talk to me. Yeah, it's
Yeah, everybody
basically
says
this
it's really
weird
good.
plastic hand. You shake it and then you become
Oh,
possessed. I don't know if
yes,
you've
yes,
seen
I
the
did see
trailer
that.
around.
Okay.
Yeah, so that looks pretty good.
I forget
And
what
then-
movie I'm going to see tonight. It's another horror movie.
Is it the one with the mother and daughter? The new one?
What the fuck? I already have a ticket for it. I don't even know what the fuck it is.
Oh, not Insidious.
No, I saw that piece of shit.
Boogeyman?
That
No,
movie
no,
sucked.
no.
I saw that too.
Haunted Mansion.
Nope,
I hope so. It's not Haunted Mansion.
dude. I
Isn't
can't even.
isn't it Cobweb?
Yes.
Cobweb, right?
Yeah.
Cobweb?
I'm gonna go
Let's
see
see.
that.
Yeah, it came out this week. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
Well, we're
I
getting a
always
pla-
go see horror movies.
I love horror, dude. It's my favorite genre.
Yeah,
I'm
same, bro.
obsessed.
Mhm.
Obsessed.
Same.
one of my favorites.
It's doing really well right now. Horror's
Well, horror always does well.
yeah, it does well
Because it's so
yeah.
cheap to make.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Look at
my-
Insidious, man. Jesus.
Yeah, those movies they had like a $16 million budget and it opened to like 32, even though it's a total piece of shit.
I actually watched the first Insidious for the first time a few days ago, and I don't know how people thought that was a good movie.
Insidious
It's-
2 is
yeah.
better. Watch Insidious
Oh,
2.
dude, the
I know.
first
I'm not gonna
Insidious
fucking
movies-
bother now. I
No,
don't want to
don't
give
watch
that franchise any more chances.
No.
I'm done.
No.
It's just normie horror bait. basically.
film.
Any
believe
James
it.
Wan cinematic universe shit is I'm tired. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it.
Yeah,
I want
the only good thing he
A24.
did was Saw. That's it. And so
Yeah.
it was his first movie as a student with Leigh Whannell. Great screenwriter, by the way.
Yeah, I just think I like horror movies when I don't need sequels. I just like scary movies. Like I like The Lighthouse, Get Out, stuff like that. Like that's what I vibe with. I don't need a 30 million Halloween.
Hey, Halloween's my favorite horror franchise.
Come
Let's
on,
not go
Movie
there.
Cynic. You know,
No,
evil dies
no.
tonight.
No,
Evil
I'm
Dies
not gonna.
Tonight!
Halloween Ends was one of the fucking worst movies I've ever seen. So
Yeah, it's terrible,
You know,
terrible.
I'm not like super biased towards it. I just love Michael Myers. So.
Yeah, like for me, the worst Halloween, like the worst remake of that was that Netflix Texas Chainsaw remake. That was absolutely.
Oh.
I didn't even see
fucking
that.
I didn't.
bullshit.
see
Wasn't
it.
worth it. Save yourself the
I've-
time.
I watched
You guys, yeah.
The only one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies I saw was the second one. It was called like Next Generations or something. And that
Oh,
had,
you saw that one?
man, dude, that movie just like it wasn't horror. It was just disturbing. I just hated
Yeah,
that.
that movie's fucking
Oh,
crazy.
That made me
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable. Like watching that movie, I looked over at my friend and I was like, "Can I stop watching this?" And he was just like, "Nah." I was held captive. It was just like such an uncomfortable experience.
Watch the original. It's the best.
Yeah,
Yes.
that the original
Disturbing.
70s one is really good.
Disturbing horror is the best. Have you
Mm.
seen Bone Tomahawk?
Ooh, it's
I
great.
love that movie. That's a really good movie.
It's good. It's good. Has anyone seen came out this or last year Infinity Pool?
Oh, I saw
I've
that.
been waiting
Mia
to watch
Goth?
it.
Really
I'm a huge
creepy.
Mia Goth fan because I'm like
Yep.
smitten with her and her acting since Pearl was my
Yeah.
favorite movie last year. And then I
Yep.
saw Infinity Pool and I was like, what the fuck is this?
I was
Oh,
really
I did not
excited
like
for
it.
Infinity
So good.
Pool. That's disappointing. I still haven't
I
seen
know
it.
you might
Same.
like it. I
Okay.
didn't read anything about it. I just saw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, holy shit, a new Mia Goth horror movie. I'm there, and we just went.
It's very
immediately.
body horror. I mean, if
Yeah.
you like, if you grew up with Videodrome, like some of the early David Cronenberg, John Carpenter films, I think you'll like. I think you might like
Okay.
it. I don't know. It's hard
Okay.
to say.
I love the
no.
thing, so that
Well, this is
works in
more-
my favor.
Fucked up. Yeah, it's hard to
Okay.
say.
All right, all right.
Have you seen Martyrs?
See it. Yeah, see
Oh,
it.
I did
yeah,
enjoy
Martyrs.
Martyrs. Yes, that's a
Great
good movie.
That's
That's
also being remade.
That's good. Martyrs is really good.
Martyrs is fantastic. It's just the new Suspiria remake was pretty decent, I thought.
I didn't see that because I'm not a huge remake fan.
Yeah.
So that's maybe I'll check that out.
I always like to recommend this movie. It's House That Jack Built.
Oh yeah,
Have
the
you
House
seen
of
this?
Jack Built is fucking great, man.
Yeah.
I've heard of that one.
I've heard of it.
It's Lars von Trier. He did like Antichrist, Nymphomaniac, all these weird movies.
Oh, Mia Goth's in
And-
Nymphomaniac.
Yeah, she is.
I know she is.
Nymphomaniac.
I've seen her scenes.
Yeah, but Matt Dillon is really good in
Oh,
House.
this movie sounds pretty good. All right, I'm gonna add this
watch,
to watch
watch
list.
the House That Jack Built. It's actually really, really good.
It's fantastic.
Man, we got off track. Does anyone give a shit about the Marvels trailer?
I'm
Did
so
anyone see
excited for
it?
that fucking dumpster fire to come to theaters. Oh
I am
my god!
too. I was really disappointed that it got delayed.
Wait,
It
got
got
it delayed
delayed?
again?
Well, no, because it was supposed to be out this month.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
It's out
Yeah.
in November, right? First week.
November
November,
10th.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it 10th or
Yep.
is it
10th.
man?
Yep, you're right.
Man,
I love how like the chat has also just moved on.
Yeah, we're
We're
talking.
just-
Everybody's
Heroes.
talking.
No,
we're
no,
debating
no.
horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like chat's having more
October is
fun.
going to be a really good month for horror movies. We got The Omen. There's another Omen movie coming out. There's
Another one.
another.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's a prequel
Another-
or a remake.
Either one is
Uh,
bad.
They're
They should
remaking
leave
The
it alone.
Exorcist.
Yeah, there's an Exorcist remake as well.
Yeah, but isn't it by the
Um,
same guy that made the Halloween trilogy? The Halloween.
Yeah.
David Gordon Green.
David Gordon Green. Yeah. So fuck that. It's gonna be trash.
Dude, oh god damn it. I'm going to do a video essay on why Halloween Ends is such a piece of shit
Thank you.
Do it.
for Halloween.
Do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Dead by
It's gonna be an
Daylight
hour
is
long.
has an
Probably.
adaptation.
I hate that fucking
Nice.
movie.
Ah,
But
Yeah.
yeah.
The First Omen. That's what it's called.
There we go.
Somebody brought
Yeah.
that up. Yeah, it's a
Oh,
prequel, I think. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Isn't the
Um,
first Omen just Satan?
Yeah. Oh, The Haunting. What do you think of Haunting at Venice? Have you seen that one? Kenneth
seen that one.
Branagh.
Oh yeah, the
Oh, the
Kenneth
trailer
Branagh
played
movie.
during Oppenheimer.
I'm waiting for the last voyage of the Dimitri.
I'm so
Demetrius.
excited
I'm
for
seeing
that
that
one.
Yeah, I got my ticket
Yeah.
for that.
I'm really hyped for that one because it's like one of the best fucking chapter in the Dracula story. It's like it's just the best. So I'm really waiting for
Well,
that.
I know
but
how it ends.
Yep. But the Kenneth Branagh movie, I haven't really seen anything about it apart from the trailer. We also have the Nun too.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
I didn't see the first one. Was the first one any good?
It was
No.
so bad. It
but it's
was
based on real
so
events,
bad.
guys.
Oh yeah, it is. It's based on.
They were
Ugh.
role playing.
Look, the horror genre has more bad movies than good movies.
Oh,
but
for sure.
Oh, for sure.
That's
man.
all genres. Like
I am sure I
Yeah.
remember seeing an advert on the tube for The Nun with the tagline, "The movie the Vatican doesn't want you to see." And I'm
What?
not
That
normally
way,
one to agree with the Vatican on much, but on this I will happily go by their advice. They don't want me to see it. I don't want to see it. Haven't seen it.
the Pope has a good take.
no,
But-
A Quiet Place has a prequel coming out.
Oh fuck that, man. The second one was trash. I have no
It was
hope again.
Yeah, the second one
It was
lost
alright.
all the magic the first one had. I don't know why they even
Yeah.
fuck. Well, I know why they bothered, but they shouldn't have bothered.
Mm.
Yeah.
They're actually doing a remake of The Strangers. I don't know if you guys know that movie. It's
I-
from,
Are
like,
they
That's
really?
been-
That
Yeah.
movie
Yeah,
isn't
it's
even
been in
that
production
old.
for a while though, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
It's supposed
yeah.
to come out this year, actually.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I like The Strangers. That was a good movie.
I
think-
plan
thought
on
it was
doing a
fun.
lot of horror movie streams this October.
Yep.
I missed out on
Yeah.
that last year. I want to go over all kinds of shit. I just love that genre, man.
But like as we were talking about the video game adaptation with and horror movies, so you got the Five Nights at Freddy's. Do you guys have any hope about that one?
I hope it's
I'm-
funny.
I don't.
I'm
care
not
about it.
familiar with the franchise, so I
Ah,
wouldn't
man.
judge the quality of it.
I had a friend who was obsessed with that franchise. And he still is. He buys all
Is
the
he like
games.
12?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how
no,
old is
he's
he?
he's my age. He just buys all the games. He plays them all. He watches all the lore videos on YouTube.
Dang.
Oh,
Is he
Like,
autistic by chance?
he is hardcore. I mean, we're all a little tizzing me, aren't we? So yeah. And so he's excited for that, and I just want it to be funny.
So to everyone in the chat, if you guys aren't hyped by the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, I'm just here to inform you that Nicolas Cage actually did a Five Nights at Freddy's type movie called Willy's Wonderland in 2021.
Terrible.
So yeah, it's horrible.
Fabulous.
But
So
if you
bad.
want to see Nicolas Cage beat up some animatronics, there you go, man.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. No, speaking of, somebody said something about, I can't remember. YouTube. There's this interesting thing where YouTubers are getting recognized and getting funding from Hollywood. So Shudder just funded this guy, Edward Ball or Kyle Ball, Skinamarink, which was his first feature, came out last year. And that guy was noticed on YouTube for just making short films. And then another guy, another horror movie coming on the horizon is called The Backrooms, which is like
really.
Yeah, they're making a Backrooms film now. Like they're doing it now. At least, well, maybe it's delayed because the awards, the SAG people. But that guy was discovered. He made a short film on YouTube and it just blew up. And then A24 says, "Hey, I'm gonna give you $20 million to make a feature film of it." And he's 17 years old. This kid.
Yeah, he is.
Bruh.
So.
But I'm pretty surprised that movie studios aren't hopping onto something like, because I don't know if this is trademarked, but the SCP, I don't know if you guys know.
Oh man, yeah, I know what
the
that
SCP,
is.
Secure, Contain, Protect. It's basically the biggest. I don't know how to say it. It's like the biggest writing thing, like biggest
It's
collaborative writing project.
Yeah.
Other than
basically.
like the Bible.
Yeah, no, legitimately.
Wow.
So
It
it's
is.
basically just the SCPs are basically just different monsters that individuals have created, and I don't know if it's public domain or if
I think
Is that-
it's public domain.
Is that the website where it's just like basically a bunch of information pages about all these different monsters or origins or lores or whatever?
Yeah.
Probably
Okay.
that's what you're thinking of. Yeah.
Wikipedia.
Like there's a bunch of YouTube channels like dedicated to like explaining each one.
Yeah, okay. I'm
A
familiar
lot of them
with
are
it
pretty
then.
interesting.
Yeah.
And I thought that the Backrooms was an SCP technically, so that's why I'm asking the question of if there's a rights issue to make an SCP related movie, because I think that there's a lot of untapped potential in those.
I mean, since they're written by just random people on the internet, those people have the copyright just by making it, right?
Maybe,
but like you can make just a loosely thing based off of the SCP Foundation would be interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because you have a lot of short, I forgot his name, like Evan Royalty or something like that. It's a channel on YouTube, and he makes short films about like military men going in and clearing up these houses with SCP, so weird ass crazy monsters, and they're really good.
Yeah, there was even there was a short story that I read. It was like, it wasn't even a horror thing. It was like this box that would like puke out paper mache dragons, and it was like this box used to be played with by kids who like made a bunch of dragons, and this box is a portal to the makeup world that those kids made, and like that world is dying because those kids don't play with the box anymore because they grew up. And like that was like a really nice story. There's a lot of stuff in the SCP Foundation that you could adapt into movies that'd be pretty good, I think. I don't know how long it'll be until people actually pick it up.
I wonder if that's because people are tired or don't write books anymore. Is that why? Like why?
Probably, yeah.
Like, is everybody just writing blogs on the internet instead of like actually getting into like not like novelizations or short stories? Like short story, is the short story dead? This I can't.
Oh, the short story's dead. That's for sure.
The short story is just like you can post that on Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
But I have so many anthologies of like Bradbury and H.P. Lovecraft and Ambrose Bierce and all these different and Dickens, and it used to be a big thing, short story collections and anthologies, but now it's just like go on this website and read about the Backrooms. I don't know. I don't think people are doing that anymore. It's different medium.
Not in the same medium, but that's in much the same way that most poetry these days is read on Instagram, which is incredibly depressing if you actually like and know anything about poetry. You go to Instagram and it's Rupi Kaur saying some vague self-empowering bullshit. That's not poetry, but apparently, according to this generation, it is. Sure, the print industry generally is struggling. You can do so much of these things online. So to the extent there is still a flourishing short story genre, it probably is on message boards. It probably is online. Like people turning to fan fiction as their first writing experience, where prior to that, people were more focused on little short stories to get their feet under the table, to really learn their craft, and then they develop those over time. You'll still find some legacy outlets that publish like short story anthology collections, but they're not anything like as popular as they were because our media habits have changed.
Wild. AI is gonna fuck everything up.
No, yeah. I do have to scoot off soon, so and we have a shit ton of super chats we got to get to. We didn't even have any words for the Marvel trailer, so never mind.
No, that's probably
it's going to be feminist trash. That's all you need to know.
Dying, so let's get on to super chats before I actually do expire.
Yeah, I think Platoon's dying too. So, Beard for $10. Barbie wasn't as vile as She-Hulk. I disagree with that, but arguable. But any good points is tried to make were undermined by its portrayal of all men and that one meta line about MR not being the right person to portray this point. What is that?
That was the line that they're referring to is when Margot Robbie's character sits down and says, I don't have anything going for me. I don't feel pretty anymore. I'm not the intelligent one. And Helen Mirren pops in to say, she is the wrong person to cast to make this point. It's a meta line, which on its own is kind of entertaining, except that
I thought that was actually kind of funny.
It does sort of undermine the point it was trying to make, which is that actually women generally, and Margot Robbie in particular, have an immense advantage from no other reason than the way they look. And so her existential doubts were really conveyed by the wrong person.
Whenever I see MR, that is not the phrase I think of as Margot Robbie. So, oops. Move on. Hey, Vex, you want to read a super chat?
Sure. Kajir 18 for North Korean money. 50. Thank you. Thoughts on people defending Barbie by stating that its aggressive anti-patriarchy angle was meant to be satirical, making fun of the whole subject.
Oh, we probably covered the shit out of that.
I think we did.
I'm not sure if that's a question or a statement.
More headcanon than it is reality.
Yeah. The only argument there is like, well, they fucking mentioned that it's matriarchy is unfair.
The fact they had to say patriarchy 12 times means it's no longer satire or comedy.
Right.
Now you're shoving it in the face.
Right. It's one of those things people will walk out of the theater being like, patriarchy. Like that word's in your fucking head now.
Yep.
Actually, Andrew, you want to read a super chat, buddy?
Sure. James Busher for 10 pounds.
10 letter
euros.
E's.
Euros. What are you talking about?
I don't know what that is.
Pounds are
I'll be the dollar sign, baby. If Saudi Arabia
slightly more
are
valuable
willing to
than the
pay
dollar sign.
700 million for a year of, I can't read that.
Mbappe, who is a French footballer.
A Frenchman.
Mbappe. How much could Disney ask for from them to permanent ownership of them? How funny would it be if Saudi's owning Disney be?
Yikes!
Very funny.
That's
very funny.
I mean, don't they already have their own like golf?
Live Golf.
Is it the LIV? I don't know anything about golf because I like to go outside and meet people, but I know that they did actually buy. I think it's the LIV tour or something like that.
Live Golf. They compete in a way, and the LPGA tour doesn't let the players play for both, so you always have to pick for one or the other. But the Live Golf pays way more money.
Yeah, it didn't work. I think English rugby once tried to do that to stop English players going and playing abroad in France in particular, and it just fell apart after a while because French rugby at the time was more popular and more lucrative, and so people just said, okay, then fair enough. I'll go where the money is. Thank you very much. The Saudis are on a big sports washing drive at the moment. So besides the investment in Twitter alongside Elon Musk, they're mostly the Saudi Investment Fund is the one that's currently buying up. They bought up 4 Saudi Pro League teams. It's buying up almost half the Premier League footballers and is investing because they've also bought Newcastle United and a couple of Premier League teams. So they're more interested in sports at the moment. I don't know about them moving into entertainment, except that if there's one good thing that could come about, it would be a pretty definitive end to the era of the girl boss, I think. I don't think the Saudis go in for that.
Saudi Arabia is making some pretty heavy investments into video games right now, if that's worth anything.
That's also correct.
Saudis love WWE. Fuck, dude.
When does the Prophet Muhammad debut on WWE and just take out the Undertaker?
Dude, there's a clip from WWE from probably like 2003 or 4. They went so over the top. Vince McMahon introduced God, and they
I remember.
they had a spotlight.
Just a fucking spotlight walking. The craziest part is Vince McMahon's face. Is just
His
there
face
like,
is
huh?
so amazing.
The peak
You know
of
what's-
WWE, man.
Yeah. What's more amazing is we have as many super chats as when we started now. Uninspired. You want to read one, bro?
Yeah, sure. Nikki Relihan for £10. The ending to Barbie should have been Barney and Ken talking, and then a nuclear explosion goes off in the background, and I'm a Barbie girl starts playing. Fade to black. Fin. Yeah, sure.
It ends like the end of Rogue One. They just hug and then it just
A hug and
explodes.
it's yeah.
The typo makes that even better because now I'm imagining Barney the purple
Barney,
dinosaur.
yeah.
Platoon, why don't you read this in your British accent?
No, do it. No. Do it in your Matt.
Well, yeah,
accent.
yeah.
I
Specific
can't do a Matt.
accent.
You can do Matt. You're good at that.
Matt I, also the alternative to Matt Cat for $1.99. Listen, this movie is terrible.
Listen.
Listen. Fine, you're gonna read this one at least.
Night King 01 for $99. Oppenheimer's length did not bother me, nor his wife. I don't know if I would call this self-indulgent because most is actually recorded transcripts and first-hand accounts other than the subjective aspects.
Yeah,
I sounded a little sad reading that one.
I think he wants to go to bed. The length
wasn't
of
self-indulgent at all.
no, I thought it was fine.
There was a little bit some places, but like not as much as other Nolan movies.
It was
I think
just-
this
it
is
was
his
just
least
pieces of
indulgent
dialogue.
movie. Yeah.
I felt like he had a point he was trying to make, and it took him 3 hours. It definitely didn't feel like 3 hours. Barbie felt just as long as Oppenheimer, and it
It
was like
did.
half the length.
Barbie felt
did.
long. It really
Yeah,
dragged on.
It was like an hour
Yeah.
and 40 minutes, and it felt like fucking eternity.
Yep.
Mhm.
I just, with soul-crushing realization that my Indiana Jones 5 video is longer than Oppenheimer. Oh no.
Yeah.
What have I done?
God damn. Mr. Talk About It for $1.99. Well, going for Barbie on Friday. Pray for me. We will, dude.
We will.
This is your choice.
Nah.
You don't have to do it.
Bring your friends. Just drag them in there and just make fun of the movie while the movie's going on.
I mean,
That's
it's
the
true.
best
At least go with a couple
experience.
of friends. You'll have a much better time.
It's like watching Morbius or Minions 2. Just bring a bunch of friends and make fun of the the movie, and also wear suits.
Minions
That's
was
funny.
good though. What do you
Minions
mean?
2. I mean, it was
Minions
funny.
2 was good.
No,
Minions
I like
too.
all the Minions movies. I'm
True,
sorry.
Minions. I see Minions and I clap.
They're cute. They look like little tater tots. Come on.
They have a fat one in the new one. It just looks like a potato.
A body positive. Minion.
Exactly.
Body
I love the
positive auto.
Minions.
Vex, you want to read this one?
Sure. Jonathan Frost for $10 real. Barbie should have had Ken go into the real world and become a real boy too, so we could get a scene of him at the urologist. Fair is fair.
He's getting a colonoscopy.
No, I want
No,
him
biting
going to the
satire.
real
You could have had him
world.
go and lose a custody battle or something like that.
Nah, I rather him go to the real world and then get hired for Beach finally.
Yeah, that would have been nice. There we go.
What about Beach?
I do just this. I stand here and I beach.
This is for you anyway, Vex. You can.
Oh,
Take
Taylor
pride in
S
it, too.
for another real $4.99. Go Vex. She's completely right and not reading into it too much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The woman was right.
Fuck the patriarchy.
For once.
Actually, Andrew.
Sure.
Oh, wait, if Gosling was beaching in real life,
Mm.
he would get Me Too'd in about 5 minutes.
Oh, for
Mm.
sure.
100%. Yeah.
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 Based on his attitude, he's way too aggressive with his I mean, it's kind of charming and he's kind of like a doofus, but girls would take that the wrong way, and they would just be like, "He raped me with his eyeballs."
You know what's
Nah, he's
weird
gay.
is that's exactly how most girls act in front of a
Yeah.
guy they like. Is they cross a lot of boundaries and they're always staring and looking a lot, and they get a little handsy and all that, and they're needy and clingy.
Yeah.
So that's why I say Ken wasn't really a man. He was literally a reflection of feminism. Like
I'm now
femininity.
imagining Vex in the same room as Henry Cavill.
I'm far more aggressive.
Now that'd
so when you
be
do me
sexual
just staring-
harassment.
Straight up sexual assault.
All right, John the Man Good for $10. They should have just gotten the people who wrote Barbie in a Dream House. It's all on YouTube for just 40 minutes long. It's the funniest stuff I've ever seen in a long time. Simple and funny.
There's
Barbie
a
in the
Barbie's
Dream
Dreamhouse like fan movie,
Wow.
Yeah. I
or,
guess so.
or like it's
Barbie
an
in the
actual
Dream
thing.
House. Or,
I've heard of it.
And you know what, guys? It makes sense that we haven't heard of it. It's called Barbie's Dream House.
in the
Barbie.
Dream House is a book, but not a. Hold up, maybe there's a movie called Barbie in the.
I do too, Campbell Peterson. I do too.
Dreams in the Witch House is a good H.P. Lovecraft story.
Wait, I thought the like double
was it?
standard here is like if the guy's attractive, which a lot of women find Ryan Gosling, then it's not. you
Oh,
know,
that's pretty much the
Then it's
double
not?
standard. Yes.
Oh, then it,
Yeah,
that is
then it's okay.
100% it.
then it's totally like it's actually charming.
That's why Bond gets away with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Gets away with a lot.
Uninspired. You want to read this one too?
Sure. Jose Gonzalez for $5 US. Never underestimate the seal clapping capability of the masses. Funds for Platoon to acquire hamster food to keep the generator going.
True.
Listen, this is one of the first things I'm doing after this stream. I am taking the side off of this monstrous supercomputer and making sure it's actually plugged in. I did not spend that much money to have something that turns itself off every 5 minutes. That's
Well,
very
you need to
annoying.
sleep before you do
Might be a
that. In all
power
honesty.
supply.
I need to finish
Yeah.
a video before I sleep. No, I'm gonna be up for ages.
Lofty, you want to read this one, sir?
Yeah. Ed Wood, Sr. Oh man, that's a great Johnny Depp movie.
Mhm.
$10 donation, thank you. What I'm getting from your review is that Barbie was written by a woman from the POV of a 10-year-old girl who was just ditched by the boys going to play GTA 5.
Kind of yes, except that it turns out to be the 10-year-old girl's mother.
Yeah.
Listen, those boys are based. All right.
Based.
No
are.
women. We have GTA.
Back in the day for me, it was in GTA. It was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Oh yeah.
I would ditch all sorry, I'm out of here. Random girl, I'm leaving to go play Tony Hawk. Or Dreamcast. Dreamcast was like my shit.
Dude, Dreamcast was awesome.
Yep.
I love that
Yep.
system.
I was a gamer. I didn't really do a lot. I guess I did bike riding and shit, but I was kind of a gamer when I was a kid. Yeah.
Little Platoon, you get to read one. You do your job.
Jonathan Frost for $5. Gonna have to figure out how to arrange for a 350-pound dude who smells like I don't know what that word is.
Patchouli.
Patchouli.
To show up at all the movies Cynic goes to see from now on.
At least he didn't smell like just fucking BO, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was
patchouli's
spilling
not
over into my
bad.
fucking seat.
What is patchouli?
It's a herb.
Patchouli is
Yeah.
it's the nastiest like hippie cologne ever. It's what
I thought that
hippies
was
wear.
weed.
No, well, it's to cover up the weed. So
It's
like
worse.
if you smell weed and patchouli, you're definitely around a hippie, dude. Even if they're dressed normal, you're like, I know what you fucking do in your free time. I get it. Yeah, he knew he was spilling in his seat too because he kept his arms crossed to like keep it in his still. Anyway, I'll leave him alone. He probably is listening.
He's probably a really big fan, and he was sweating and nervous because he said, "Oh my god, I recognize this guy from YouTube. I'm sitting next to him. Can't be awkward." And now, and look what you're doing.
He's
Just
fucking
embarrassing him
ragging
live
on him.
air.
It's his villain arc.
God, there was
It's
this
his
weirdo
origin
sitting next to
story.
me. He was fat. Gosh.
I bet you'll see him in the cinema next time. You'll probably see him in the cinema today after him
Yeah,
watching
maybe.
this.
Like, don't fucking sit next to me, dude. Matt again for $1.99. Platoon face reveal. Will tonight be the night? Do you want me to say it like he does? Platoon face reveal. Will tonight be the night, cutie?
No.
Is that Camelot in his profile picture?
That's
Kind of look
him.
like it. Oh boy,
It's definitely
Camelot's
Matt.
got a mustache.
It's his alter ego, Matt I.
Hmm.
Oh, and I wanted to answer this. Thoughts on second weekend drops? I have no fucking clue. This is the weirdest weekend ever. If I were
Yep.
to take a stab, I would say 59% for Barbie. 59%.
Damn, that's a stronghold.
That's a middle ground.
I think it's going to
too.
hold. I know personally in my real life, not on the internet, but people actually that I've spoken to that have seen it already twice.
That's crazy.
So I'm sure it's going to have some legs. Like I would bet money on it.
I'll probably just go to see it again and just drag friends along to see Ken. It's like, guys, let's watch the Ken movie.
It is
Yeah.
the argument as well, because a lot of people were saying, well, we've seen the Bud Light effect, so is this going to tank in the same way? But that mistakes the target audience dynamic. So Barbie, I don't think is actually pissing off anyone who is the target audience.
Right.
There is a sizable target audience for the kind of thing that Barbie is, whatever that thing is. So I don't know that the go woke, go broke thing quite applies in this case.
No, I don't at all. Because I feel like a lot of women who are the target audience are walking out going, "It spoke for me." So
I
Oh yeah,
clapped
women
when
will
I
eat
heard
this shit
the
up and go
thing.
see it again.
It spoke my truth.
exactly.
What truth, bitch? What truth? Tell me, please.
You're a woman. There's about 15 of them.
It doesn't even know what its truth is. So how does it speak any truth? Oh, women don't make any fucking sense. So there we go.
Basically,
It's
There's
just
the question answered.
impossible to be a woman today.
In America, definitely.
Mhm. I'll read this one. Mr. Talk About It, just because I love saying that word. The name is great. For $4.99. Some fave scenes. The Kyoto City decision. Yep. Oppenheimer's PTSD. And the combo with Einstein. Yeah. The
Yeah.
test bomb going off. Lots to like in this movie, even with its flaws. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I haven't heard anybody just flat out say they dislike the movie.
Yeah.
I
there's
could
something to
definitely
take
see
away of it.
people saying it was boring. I can see people
guess.
saying
I
that.
I
but-
I
can't
guess if you're like a
really.
fucking chud.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, if you
I
had no
can't see
testosterone,
you
maybe.
saying that. I can't see you saying that it's completely boring. Well, I can see you saying that the first, let's say, 20 minutes were a bit boring, but then after that, it's like, at least if you just pay attention, you can get bored, man.
This is a world where Grace Randolph exists. You can obviously
yeah,
imagine someone saying it's boring. Barbie
Yeah.
represented everything in her head, whereas Oppenheimer was all the bad things about Christopher Nolan.
Guys, this movie was about World War II and it didn't even have guns in it. What's the problem with it?
What the
Mhm.
fuck? This movie is boring.
Why is
Stupid
there no
fucking
war in it?
scientists.
Why are there no Asians? It's about the bombing in Japan. Where's the Asian?
Well, for me, those people can think it's boring. That's fine with them. But there's probably the same people that would think like Doctor Strangelove is boring, and that's like one of the best films ever made. So
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I don't think movies like this are boring unless I actually think this is the opposite, because a movie like Theory of Everything is kind of boring. The formulaic shit gets repetitive and old, and that's when I think the Oppenheimer does the opposite. It's not formulaic. It's so intense and weird, and biopics that are just straight like this is this guy's life and he gets sad and then he gets happy again. That's boring to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is way less boring. I don't know.
Yeah, and I love that they also didn't hero worship Oppenheimer or condemn him completely. Like it was all, they just put him on the screen as is, and it really kicks off the movie by showing him poisoning that fucking apple. That's well, as soon as they showed that, I was like, oh, they're really gonna, go for it here by just showing every part of Oppenheimer. Vex, you want to read this one?
Sure.
Okay.
The chat for $2. Twitter, it's X now, my dudes and dudette.
The dude abides.
That is so fucking cringy, too.
Has it changed for everyone? Because mine hasn't updated, and I never update.
No, my
phone
logo's
when I
changed.
Yeah,
changed,
my
yeah.
logo's changed.
I hate it. I'm
Yeah.
looking for Twitter. I'm like, I swear I had a tab open, and it's just X.
Yeah.
It's like the worst thing ever. It's like one of the most
So
iconic
cringe.
names and brands ever.
Yeah.
It's like Twitter. Your
He's
grandma
been
knows
trying
what Twitter
to do
is.
this forever. So
he
when,
has.
but even before PayPal, his idea was he wanted to try and disrupt the banking system by creating a one-stop shop for all banking needs called X.com. He actually registered X.com way back in,
Yep.
Yep.
must be the late 90s. And then when he started PayPal, he wanted that to be called
X.
X PayPal or PayPal X or something like that. X has been his thing. Isn't his child's name X something or
It
other?
has an X.
Yeah, X
He
something.
has a
Zebra
lot of
with an
X's
X.
as well, so that all works.
Goofy. Fucking goofy. Day Trippera for an arse load of $50. Arr. Oppenheimer is not eligible to be nominated according to the new Oscars diversity rules. That's actually a funny point. I wonder if it is.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It's a biopic.
I think it's gonna be like the proper
is.
But it
test.
doesn't represent
It is.
Cynic.
I don't know if this person's serious or not, but the Oscar diversity rules are more nuanced than that. It doesn't have anything to do with on-screen race. It has
Behind
mostly
the
to do with-
scenes?
yeah.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Because The Northman had 0 black people.
And was it
And,
nominated for
The
anything?
Northman was nominated.
No, but I'm saying, okay, so maybe it's hard to say. I don't know why. I think Hollywood just fucking hates Robert Eggers for some reason, or they hate movies. They
'Cause he
don't
makes cool
nominate
movies.
movies like that normally anyway. You know what I mean? Like movies like that don't get nominated. It's too artistic, or I don't know. But I think it was
That's
eligible.
dumb.
I don't know.
It
But I'm
was
pretty
eligible, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive because, yeah, I'm positive. In
I did have a quick
1917,
look. It's been predicted by
1917,
various outlets that it
Dude.
will be nominated for up to 12. So by definition, I would say that means it's eligible.
yeah, look
good.
at 1917 and All Quiet on the Western Front. Those were both Best Picture winners, weren't they? Or no, which one of those won?
Wait, what movies again?
All Quiet on the Western Front is 100% white German actors, so
Mm.
that won Best Picture, didn't it?
If it's historical, they must not be able to do anything about it. I would think.
Oh,
That's-
you've never watched anything on the BBC?
What would you say?
I don't watch
Didn't they do
dumb
it
British
Anne
shit.
Boleyn Black?
Yeah, Anne Boleyn's
recently?
black. And
Yeah, it won 4 Academy Awards.
The Chord King for $2. Hope Oppenheimer wins Best Live Action Short Film.
I think
Short means relative.
It's all relative. Who's
the horse.
who wants to read one?
The best horse scene is the Light Horseman. In the Light Horseman, charge at Beersheba. Horses. What am I
Beersheba.
speaking Hebrew?
Beersheba.
The horses versus machine guns and artillery. Horses win that one.
What
The heck
the
is
fuck?
that?
What?
Jesus.
Horses
The
are
light?
bees.
Horse. Oh,
Beersheba.
it's a movie from 1987, The Light Horseman.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's Australian cavalrymen fighting
fun.
Germans and Turks. Yeah,
Hmm.
basically.
good friend of mine would probably kill me if I didn't give an honorable mention for the charge of the Rohirrim in Return of the King.
Oh my
Although
god.
most of the
Oh,
horses are
yes.
CGI, so whether it counts, I don't know. But it's a very impressive
Nah,
scene.
it counts.
Mm.
Does a Spirit Stallion of the Samurai count for good horse scenes? Or
Spirit.
it's a good movie.
My Little Pony, does that count?
Nah, those are ponies, not real horses.
That's
Andrew, you read this
Malignant
one.
is great.
Keteris Parabussus.
Right on.
Yep. For $4.99. Malignant is unironically Juan's best because he mocks some of his own habits.
I
Mm.
agree.
Malignant is low key a banger, in all honesty.
is
I
a
liked
banger.
Malignant. It's
Yeah,
so stupid.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good when you watch it with people. You just laugh at it.
yep. Uninspired, you want to read this?
Yeah,
one,
sure.
Fred?
Avalon for $4.99. I loved Blue Beetle in the animated Young Justice show. If I want to see a good adaptation, I'll just go rewatch that. I haven't
Yeah.
seen the Young Justice show.
The Blue Beetle that's being adapted is not like the original Blue Beetle from, I believe it was the 30s is when Blue Beetle was first introduced.
No,
It's not.
this is like the
He's not a
third.
recent character. Yeah.
It's like the third iteration of.
Yeah, this is the third
Mhm.
iteration of him.
Has
Yeah.
he always been Latino?
No,
No.
just the third one has. The other two are white guys.
The only other one that I know is the one that gets killed in the Death of Superman comic. Other than that, I have no idea. Blue Beetle's kind of a loser in my opinion.
Fucking loser.
True. He just got goggles and has a bug-shaped ship.
Royal
He deserved death.
Royal Vegeta 83 for $2.
Euros.
Whatever's.
Euros, man. That's
Mhm.
some good money.
I write books, but agents want generic trash. Mm.
Believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
Write,
that.
write something like Twilight. Just sell it, or write something like 50 Shades of Grey. Like on your phone. Just beep 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 beep. Sell it. Make a name for yourself.
Fan
Then
fiction.
Yeah.
And then
You know,
It's an
self-publish.
incredibly
Yeah.
risk-averse industry, publishing in particular. Like, there's no coincidence that it's where sensitivity readers flourish, is because they actively want to filter out anything that might be conceivably deemed controversial, or any dangerously new idea won't get through. So it's the state of literature is not good at the moment. I wrote a book last year or the year before, I can't even remember. It's been sitting around just waiting for me to edit it. And
Wow.
I fully expect
What's it
that not to go
about?
anywhere. It's a weird sort of slightly comedic post-apocalypse Evelyn Waugh meets Douglas Adams kind of thing. They go / Treasure Island. They have to go on an adventure across like this bombed out, dried out Mediterranean Sea with no water in it to find something, and then get back. But there's betrayal, and it's a completely random thing. My dad bought me a typewriter, and I sat down and I thought, I wonder if this works, and started typing. And about 6 months and 600 pages later, I was like, oh, I accidentally did a thing.
Accidentally did
That's
it.
awesome.
Whoops.
That's awesome.
Campbell Patterson for I don't have my glasses on. I can't fucking see. For an Australian $5. Hoping this sends through. One show I really love is Tugs. Fantastic sets, great voice acting, great characters. Can't recommend it enough. I've not heard of Tugs.
I've never heard of it
No.
either.
No.
Tugs.
Tugs.
In South Park, Russell Crowe has a talking boat called
Tugger.
Tugger,
Tugger. Tugger killed himself.
which commits suicide. Yeah.
And Tugs looks scary. It basically looks like a Thomas the Train Engine, but with boats.
We can't fight cancer, so we're gonna fight this doctor. Come here, fight me, testicle.
Fighting round the world.
They're fighting around the world. Here you go, Platoon.
Dark Hour for $2.69. Hee hee, $2.69. Very good.
Very good, Dark Hour. That's our boy. A super sticker? Or
And
just
I think it's just a person of very few words, or someone who was mute.
The best super chat of the night.
Mini
might be-
Beast Kid Cam 7.
I think it's just Stephen Hawking forgot his little computer. he can't speak, but he wants us to know he likes us.
Last
Ooh, BBC.
one. Is it Julio Rangel?
I think he said he was Brazilian, so it would be Julio Rangel.
Oh, right. Oh yeah, this is a regular. For $5, the BBC recreation of the landing at Normandy would look like a night of sin and debauchery at a Tijuana nightclub. So much diversity.
Wow, BBC, what are they doing?
It's believable. It's very believable. They do this all the time.
Oh shit.
That's crazy.
How far they have fallen.
Yeah.
This is my third damn stream talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer, so
How many
It's
more have you
fu-
got?
no more. This is my next stream's Wednesday, and we're talking about RoboCop, so that's fucking awesome. I can't wait for that
Oliver
one.
Verhoeven, man. That dude,
Yeah.
that dude with the VFX, I don't know how he
Yeah.
does it, but it's incredible. I mean, look at Hollow Man and watch it today. You're just like,
Oh, yeah.
what the fuck, man.
The Invisible CGI.
The CGI is incredible. Even with the water, I was like,
Yep.
Jesus, so good.
Just point of clarification, I misraced Julio Rangel, who is Mexican and not Brazilian. So apologies for that. I don't know if that's an insult or
Cancel
not.
them, guys, to Twitter. You know what to do.
Mexican.
Tisk.
Julio Rangel.
Build the wall. We got to build it. Send him to China.
Send me the
Send them to China.
Send him to Hiroshima. Give him a time machine. Send him back to Hiroshima in 1945. I'm kidding. Trump's not that racist.
Oh shit. No, thanks everyone who sent in super chats. We appreciate you. But I guess this is the time where we ask our panel what everyone's up to, where we can find you, and all the good stuff. Vex.
You can find me hiding in Henry Cavill's closet. That's about no. Okay. I'm actually going to be on a stream right after this reviewing Titanic.
Wow.
I don't know if I love it or hate it. I rewatched it yesterday and I'm torn.
Fuck Titanic.
It's, you know what? I really love the sets. To me, the sets sell the
Oh
movie.
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
That like
stuff's so
visually,
awesome.
it's really astounding, and I think that's why I like it. But there's so much cringe otherwise. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I will be doing that over on Cannoli Sasquatch's channel. Bagface was supposed to be there, but Cynic's been working him too hard. It seems.
He's free for a day or two.
Isn't
What
it
date?
Platoon now? Isn't he video for Platoon?
I haven't got the script to him yet, but I'm hoping yes at some point.
There
this
you
week.
go. But other than that, you can follow me on Twitter at Vex Electronica. My channel is going to be in the description as well. I had a Barbie review come out yesterday, and I'm already being called a transphobe, a misogynist.
You're in the club, man.
Yeah,
Deserved.
yeah. I'm being called everything. I'm being called everything. So thank you as always for having me. Great panel today. Little sad that we couldn't hear Lofty's Ken song. That's all.
Oh yeah, that is amazing.
It's on my YouTube.
Yeah. Shout that out when we get to you, because everyone should watch it. It's great. Actually, Andrew, thanks for joining us, man. What are you up to? What are you doing? I know you're up to. You're cooking.
Well, for the normal videos, I didn't have time to put energy into Oppenheimer or Barbie, but I probably will be making videos about Blue Beetle and Ninja Turtles when those two come out. But the main thing I'm working on right now is a Temple of Doom critique, because I think it's terrible and everyone thinks it's good, and I do not agree. So I am right, and I'm proving it.
I mean, Temple of Doom is the weakest of that trilogy. To be
I
fair.
heard someone like, I was talking to someone and I'm like, I don't think it's good, and they're like, what? It's the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy. And
Okay, that's just wrong.
And I was just like, what are you talking about? They're like, it's from they unironically said it's good because it's from the 80s, and I wanted to punch them.
So's AIDS.
I'm like, I've like this movie. I've never had a movie like just make me so mad. Like, this movie makes me more mad than The Flash in terms of, like, for some reason people like
right
it.
on.
So yes, Movie Cynic really wants me to make this video.
I do, because I agree with you.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
a
hate
terrible
Indiana
movie.
Jones though in general. So
I fucking
No,
do,
I
so-
don't. I think.
Oh, sorry.
Crusade,
I
I think
admitted
Crusade
do.
is solid. Crusade is solid, but the two first ones are not so hot. And
even
also
when fucking Harrison Ford just looks like a fucking Chad in that first one, and he's
shirt off.
fucking dreamboat in that
He has
movie.
zero charisma. I don't think he has he barely has any charisma. He just kind of like
Indiana Jones has
goes
zero
around.
charisma.
He's just like,
It's fucking true. He just walks around
Han
like
Solo
Harrison
has
Ford.
charisma-
He's
more
like a
charisma.
Henry Cavill level actor. Like, he doesn't fucking do anything.
He's a
That just
Chad.
look
he's
good.
just hot.
He is a Chad. Like, he's a Chad. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
like take anything away
What
from him.
the scene where he shot that guy with the sword, I'm like, man, finally that sequence is over. It's exhausting. So yeah, I'm also making it because Mr. Brown called me an edgelord, which I thought was funny.
Did he say it like edgelord?
No, he said it. He said it in my comments section.
Oh,
So I was like, man, I hit him, didn't I? But yeah, so I'm making that.
No, he fucking shouldn't, Melvin. I think he should stay the course. I got his back. I think it's great.
Listen,
I'll
I
watch
did-
it, but I
my-
won't agree with you.
My dislike ratio was really rough for my Indy 5 review, just because I started it by tearing apart the first 3, and I just said Indiana Jones 4 exists, and that's all I said about that one.
Uninspired Reviewer. What are you up to?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me again on BSUP. It's been great with the panel. And yeah, I haven't been really active on YouTube making videos for a bit over a month, but I'm doing my return to form with Barbie, and I'm going to try and keep up with the weekly releases the same way.
10 out of 10 take right there.
10 out of 10 comments.
This one will definitely revamp your franchise.
And so yeah, like I'm gonna try, and now that I have a lot of free time, I'm gonna try going back to my 1 video per week schedule so that I can cover a lot of stuff. I've actually got a show starting with Dark Hour, who you guys may know in the chat. He was here last week, and so both of us are gonna do a movie breakdown show, which is gonna be on Saturdays at I think 2 p.m. EST. So that's 6 p.m. UK time and 7 p.m. French time, in case there are any French people in the chat.
French time.
Yeah, and so yeah,
French time,
we're gonna have Movie Cynic normally as our first guest, and we're gonna be discussing Matt Reeves's The Batman with the Golden Age Geek. So yeah, we're gonna see how that plays out, and so it'll be on Dark Hours channel, and then the next time it'll be on our channel. It's gonna be fun. We've got everything planned out till December. We've got some big guests planned out too. So yeah, hopefully it all goes well. And once again, thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrew, did you even mention, or did you just get shit on
No.
about Indiana Jones? You started a stream too with Bag.
Oh yeah, I have a
Yeah.
show called Slight Tomfoolery with Bagface, and we do that every Sunday.
Yeah, and I was
What time? We don't
me and
know.
Uninspired were the first 2 guests.
Yep.
It was on last night. You can go to actually Andrew's channel and check it out there. And Lofty, what are you up to, man?
I'm just kind of doing my own thing. I network a lot, so I do go on all kinds of shows, and then I have people on whenever I can find time on my channel, Lofti Pixels. That's actually right under my name there, and that's pretty much all I have is just a YouTube channel. But I do stream various topics. Like we do AI streams where I just make like funny images in Midjourney. I do I do tier lists, like movie tier lists, directors, actors. I have some stuff like that planned. Talk about movies, films, foreign films, old school films, anime,
Nice.
video games, and I want to get into some essays. So I just put out on my channel. I have a Tetris and BlackBerry essay. I just video essay, and I want to do some more weird stuff. Like I might pull in, maybe like do a David Lynch stream or essay, or just some fun stuff that people aren't talking about. And I did a Ken music video.
Yes, link in
And
the
it's
description. Go watch
Must
that.
see.
It's a must.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's actually my vocals, and that was fun.
It's pretty fucking good too, you guys. It is really good.
Yeah, it's a song from the movie. Catchy song. It's actually hit really high on Spotify or something. I can't
It
remember.
did.
Yeah.
I think
I listened to it after the movie. I loved it.
Same.
I listened to the Billie Eilish one. I'm like, that was a good song. Let's put that on repeat.
I actually can't stand Billie Eilish. I think she's really fucking cringe.
Thank
She
you,
has-
Vex. I love you,
she's-
Vex. Thank you. Thank you.
She is
she has
cringe as hell to listen to in real life. I can't
Yes.
stand
Oh,
listening
yeah.
to her talk, but I think she's a musical genius. I think she's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
She has this really weird trend of she does songs for really bad movies. So she just did Barbie. She
Yeah.
did No Time to Die. She did 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
So yeah, she pretty much carries them in terms of the music that she puts out for them. But yeah, I like her songs. Her as a person, yeah. She makes some
She's not
pretty
bad.
decent stuff. Yeah.
I agree. I did want to say, I do plan on doing a SAG WGA actors strike stream coming up. If anyone's interested and wants to know more of like the actual fucking like details of the negotiations, like the demands and all that stuff, I have one stream on my channel, but I'm doing another one, and I'm trying to find an actor. I think I found one to come on who's in SAG and wants to talk about it. So
I would.
yeah,
I don't know if I'd be able to help like contribute anything, but I'm interested because I'm writing a video essay and I need to do research, so that would actually be like super fucking helpful.
Yeah, we'll
Brilliant.
chat about that and see what's going on. I have to talk about this guy. I have to DM him back, but yeah, he was in an episode of The Office or something. I can't remember.
Oh, that would be really helpful. For my video. Cool.
Oh yeah, I'll point him in your direction. I think he's doing a Kickstarter too for a show, so maybe he'll be interested in networking.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
So anyway, I just want to point that out because a lot of people don't understand what's happening with the SAG strike and what they're actually asking for versus they're not just asking for a raise. Like there's like 50 things that and then some of them are good, some of them suck. you know, and the actors strike is way more understandable to me than the writers strike. The writers are asking for an insane like demands, like absolutely insane. But some of them. Anyway.
Platoon, I know what you're up to. What are you up to though?
After this, I will be finishing off Indy 5 Touchwood. That will be out tomorrow, finally. So we will see. I have a little bit. I was up till 8 a.m. trying to get it out today, but it didn't quite happen. But tomorrow should be there. After that, Barbie script. I'm hoping Bagface will take on the edit for that because I also need to work on The Mandalorian Part 2, which will be out on the weekend of August the 6th, I think it is. So yeah, that's the next 3 things all within the next 2 weeks. And then I might try some shorter videos so I can actually get more stuff out and also sleep more.
And when you say shorter videos for you, what do you mean?
Oh, under 2 hours.
Dude, you know what's funny? So people are roasting Ben Shapiro for doing a 40-minute video. They're like, dude, you spend so much time roasting something you don't even like. And then I'm like, what? Mahler does.
Yeah, I was like,
like
have you
6
seen
hour
how
video.
long
Little
these
Platoon.
videos are here?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah. I saw some of those tweets. I'm like, man, y'all are insane.
My favorite is Quarter Pussy's take, even though the dude literally just makes 20-minute videos going,
Man.
coffee,
Yeah, so this thing's not good because it's
The dude doesn't even know what a fucking cicada looks like. Like, take his fucking man card away,
and then he was
please.
like, if you guys want to watch
Barbie and Oppenheimer.
just pirate it, bro. It's fine.
Ew.
I'm just
40
like-
minutes. You know how fast Shapiro talks. Yeah, it's probably 20,000 words. In
Yeah.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
Lord.
true.
I just released the Barbie review today, and it's my favorite kind of one to do. I do it pretty rarely. It's satirical, and it's good fun. And Bagface edited it because he edits all my videos now, and apparently Little Platoon's fucking stealing him away from me too.
Listen, y'all just have to don't take him on Sundays. All right, that's his day off for 2 to 3
Sundays are normally my video release day, so his shit better be done by Sunday. That's fine.
We should
And
also say happy birthday to Bagface. It was his birthday.
Yeah, it was.
yes,
Happy
DM'd
birthday,
him.
Bagface.
Yeah, happy birthday, dude, or belated anyway.
Belated,
Saturday.
yep. It was.
An Oppenheimer review, short review, but I'll put one out this week, and then Ninja Turtles next week.
Is it coming out next week?
I see it on
is.
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
When are you
Oh, no,
taking
August
this
4th.
hypothetical
August
break?
4th, right?
When am I gonna take a break?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna like take a break after you hit 100K and have a stream and then take a break
here's
for
the
like a couple weeks.
thing. What like after I hit 100K, I realized I'm like, oh yeah, I still need to like do my job.
Nah.
It doesn't
No.
become like guaranteed after you hit 100K. You
Yeah.
still have to
Nah,
work.
you
No
can
one's,
retire now. It's easy.
No,
Yeah.
no one's gonna review the new Nick Cage movie that's coming out on Friday.
What is
What?
it?
Sympathy for the Devil. It's with that dude that played Rick Flag in the Suicide Squad.
Oh, God damn it, I know his name.
Is that a remake
what I'm
of
thinking about
the Park Chan-wook film, or
And no,
Is
I
it
don't.
just-
I'm not sure. I think it's a.
That's
it's
what
an
I was
original
wondering
thing.
too.
I know
Joel
that guy
Kinnaman?
from
Joel
the
Kinnaman, yeah.
the RoboCop reboot.
I like him.
Yeah,
he's
Joel
in,
Kinnaman,
he's in a
right.
show called The Killing. It's really good on AMC.
Yeah,
back in
he's
the day.
pretty underrated. I like him.
Yeah.
He is
he's
very
good.
underrated. Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically Nicolas Cage kidnaps him in a car, and it's
Damn.
like Collateral basically with Jamie Foxx and
Interesting.
Tom Cruise.
Cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
That sounds fun.
One final thing before we go, we missed
yes.
one that came in
Yes, we
from Julio Rangel, $2. I love Brazil, big butts, great barbecue meats. I can attest to both of those facts.
Are you sure he meant barbecue, not Big Booty Queen?
Big booty queen.
I mean,
They got
Big
the
Booty Queen
meat.
meats. Well,
Oh shit.
Brazil.
Thank you everyone for the super chats, and thank you to the chat for sticking around. We, as Mr. Brown would say, we're nothing without the chat.
I love that.
You make
And
him
Blue
sound
Beetle
so
will make $1
posh.
billion.
Am I what?
I said you make him sound way too posh.
We're nothing without the chat.
We're
We're
just make him
nothing. When you make him sound older.
Yeah, he
We're
just
not
made
He
it
is
sound
old,
like
eh?
an old man.
Mr. Brown's side gig is Richard Burton.
Oh, we're on your channel.
Oh, fuck, we are. Yeah, I keep getting that. Sorry. Yes. Oh, well, yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our lovely panel. Thank you to chat. I will hopefully be seeing you tomorrow for the video premiere. Otherwise, we'll be back this time next week. Maybe, actually, I might be on holiday. We might be back this time next week. We'll see. But we will see you at some point soon. Have a good evening, morning, afternoon, whenever it is. Bye-bye.
Bye.